You're listening to the Tumbling Saber Podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Check us out on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com, on iTunes, Facebook, and Twitter, and take your first step into a larger world. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 91 of the Tumbling Saber Podcast. I'm still Kyle.
Yeah, I'm Corey.
Okay. Hey man, Force Friday's behind us. It's another huge week on this podcast. We got a whole lot of stuff to talk about. So we're not going to just chit-chat this week, but just to make sure everybody knows, Corey, you're okay? Everything's still going well?
Yeah. So yeah, it was a good weekend. A lot of, Star Wars related. So
it was definitely one of the bigger weekends in recent memory, anyway. But just a quick update for our Powerful Friend program. So if you're one of those people that have been on the fence, what I've done is I threw in a $1 option for those who just want to help us out, but don't really care about all the bells and whistles attached. So if you have some loose change in your couch cushions and you say, hey, I think those two dopes up in Canada are worth $1, well, now you have the option. So you can just head over to our Patreon page, and there's a $1 option there that would also be appreciated. No birthdays this week, no reviews this week, so we can just get right on with the Star Wars stuff. And we'll
that's kind of a shame. I love hearing Bradley's voice.
Yeah, well, you know what? He's got to rest those pipes. He had to do it for 3 people last week.
That's true.
Amidst a hurricane, which he was not really a part of, but still. But let's unpack our Force Friday. I'm not sure what we want to call it yet. Let's unpack our experiences there, Corey. So, how was your Friday?
Well, Friday was interesting, but I kind of cheated. I said I wasn't going to do it. But it was like pandemonium, a lot of anxiety in the build-up, just being a part of Twitter fandom now, just seeing everyone posting stuff and that everything, people weeks ahead of time were getting stuff. And I was kind of curious what it would be like in our area. Like, I really thought that they wouldn't have received anything. It just seems to be the way out here. So Thursday evening, I headed over and I was like, yeah, okay, they were there and the pegs were just pillaged, like totally ravaged.
But you mean just for 3 3/4?
Just for the 3 3/4. The 6, I know now what the display box looks like, which I'll get to, but they had them there. They were just gone. Like, the only thing that was left was the 3 3/4, and they didn't have any Luke, of course. So I picked up a good six or 7 of those guys. And it's funny, I said I wasn't going to get any of them, but
you got swept up.
Yep. Well, that's it. It was like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh my God, I was getting so scared. I'm like, what's going on? Like, just not knowing if I'm actually going to get anything. So it's like, I felt like I just felt compelled to buy something. You know what I mean?
I do. A younger version of me knows what you mean.
So I kind of got swept away in that. But the next morning was kind of special. It was actually my son's first day of school ever and going into kindergarten. So kind of a bit of an emotional morning. And then, right when I got him on the bus and then drove right to the honey hole that I often speak of here. And, I walked in, and just like I said on Sith Disturbers, man, like, I walked in and I could feel myself just start walking a little quicker toward the toy section, and my heart started pumping a lot faster. And anyhow, I get over there, and yeah, again, like nothing, just some of the 2-packs. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But I don't see any signs of any Star Wars stuff yet. So I wandered around for about a good 15 minutes, and then finally saw someone. They're like, sir, can I help you? And I'm like, yes, you can. I'm like, where are the Star Wars toys? Like, and he's like, oh, actually, yeah, they're here. He's like, let me go grab them. I'll get that to you right away. So, no one was waiting. I watched them take everything off the pallet, and I just, like, I attacked it like crazy, man. As soon as they had the paper off, he was like, yeah, go for it. I was like rifled through it all. I picked up all 7, which I said again I wasn't gonna do, and I actually picked up a Hera for you, that was my main goal. The Hera and the Thrawn are the ones I really, really wanted. Rey and Luke, I would have been disappointed had I not got them, but the Hera, I had to have that toy. It's gorgeous. Anyway, I got my hands on one for you as well, which is awesome. But all in all, like, it would have been nice if someone else was there to kind of share in that, maybe fight over. But the Porgs, that was kind of, ooh, man, that's pricey, man. I mean, I get it. I guess they walk and their arms flap, but $59, like,
nah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. The only thing worse is Toys R Us listing it for $74.99.
What is up with that in them? Like, do they not read the local papers? Like,
I have no idea. To be fair, it's on promo right now for I think $57.99 or $57.49, something like that. So it's actually a little bit cheaper than Walmart's price. But good God.
Yeah, I mean, even just for an example, the 40th anniversary Vader, they finally marked it down from its original $79, and they're asking $59 still, whereas it's $40 at Walmart.
If you can find it at Walmart.
Oh, the Honey Hole has.
Oh yeah? They still have it there?
Yeah.
So you in the end, I guess your day was sort of relatively stress-free. You went to one place, right?
I went to one place in the morning, yeah, and picked up all my Star Wars essentials. It was pretty great.
Well,
like,
that's the dream. You went to one place. You broke open the pallet and picked out what you wanted.
Yeah,
you lived the dream.
I was the only one there. I did, man. It was pretty cool. That's the Honey Hole. I had a feeling that would be the place. The Force was strong with me that day, and I got lucky, man. Honestly, because I mean, I scooped up every Hera there was in that case, right? There was only 2 of them, and there was only 2 Thrawns, which I should have grabbed the other one, but I didn't.
There were no other cases?
Nope. It was just that one, probably like 4 foot by 3, or I don't know, maybe 5 foot by 3 foot display, where they had the 3 3/4 in the middle, some light sabers on the side, and there was one little box kind of with maybe like, I don't know, maybe 15, 26 inch, not even.
Wow.
That's it. Yeah, it was something, man. Like, I rifled through them and just like in the cart, like couldn't stop.
No, you kind of lost control.
I did. I spent way more than I should have. Oh my God. But whatever, it is what it is. I had fun. It's gonna be a while now until I get anything else, but there's definitely still more I'm looking for.
Oh, it won't be a while before you get anything else.
It depends. I'm really want that Force Ghost Obi-Wan. Oh man, that thing is gorgeous. That's one secret that they actually managed to keep.
But that's not coming out for a while.
I'm not sure. I mean, I definitely want Snoke as well. And I'd go for another throne with his, like the SDCC exclusive one. That's just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm not going to lie about that. My Force Friday was not the dream. Well, a lot of people listening know, if they follow on Twitter, they saw the ins and outs of my experience. So I'll just try and quickly get through it for everybody else. So I thought I had read somewhere prior to Friday that Toys R Us would be open or listing their stuff at 12:01 on Friday for purchase. So I said, great. That's fine. I if I could just order everything at once and not even worry about driving all over town, perfect. So I stayed up. I was watching, I think I watched 3 episodes of Defenders. And 12:01 came. So I refresh at toysrus.ca. Nothing. Head over to Walmart and they have less than nothing. So forgetting Walmart, completely useless. But Toys R Us had a big header for Force Friday. So I kept hitting it. And I figured, oh, maybe they're just having trouble getting the thing started. So yeah, I sat there probably for about a good 20 minutes, refreshing every couple of minutes to see if they were listing them. They weren't. And then I had the idea, well, what's Amazon.ca doing? So I popped on over there, and they had everything. They had all the 3 3/4, and they had all of the Black Series, but no Hera, which I was bummed about.
It was already sold out, or?
No, it was just not listed. which is weird. Why would they have all the others but no Hera? I have no explanation for that. So what I did was I added a couple of Jedi Master Luke's 3 3/4 to my cart. I added the Rey Black series, the Luke Black series, and that was it. And I checked out, placed my order, and went to bed happy. I mean, that's essentially what I wanted, considering I had a bunch of the 3 3/4 stuff already earlier that week. So, but I still wanted to have a bit of a brick and mortar Force Friday experience. So the next morning, I dropped my daughter off at school, headed over to my local Walmart. Wasn't sure what to expect. So I've been there on a Force Friday when the pallet was in the toy aisle, and I just didn't have time to wait for somebody to come and open it. So last week, I had been popping in there every day after work just to see if they snuck anything out on the pegs. Nothing. So I thought, okay, this bodes pretty well for Force Friday. They'll put stuff out Friday morning, and I'll be good to go. Wrong. It's as if Force Friday didn't exist at this place. Completely clueless. And still to this day, there's still nothing there. It's now, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There is still nothing.
Not even
there.
3 3/4?
Nothing. Zero.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing there. So frustrated, I got back into my car and drove about 20 kilometers east, next Walmart. And this is a big one. It's a super center. It's in a much more populated area, much more affluent area. Like hustled over to the toy section. Nothing. Again. This time I actually found a very helpful old Dutch lady who was able to at least pretend as if she cared. And so she went to the back and she asked her manager, and she came back to me and said, "No, this is what we have. Like we don't have anything." I'm like, wait, you don't? It's what? You don't even have it here? Like wow. So I don't know if she was.
That's odd, especially being a super center.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense that they just didn't have it in the building. So anyway, no sense in staying there. Not going to get the answers or the product I want here. Moved on to the next Walmart, which was a few minutes east from there. Same deal. Nothing. Just that, and that was the place where I bought the 3 3/4 stuff earlier that week. But they still had no Black Series and hadn't restocked the 3 3/4. So another waste of time. Now by this time it's creeping up on 9 a.m. So I go, okay, my last shot before I have to go over to work is Toys R Us. So I shoot over there, and this is the place I should have went to all along. Because whereas Walmart, geez, it's as if this Force Friday was not even on their radar. They just completely. I wonder how many hundreds of thousands of dollars they lost on Friday.
Well, I didn't see anyone else in the store, but who knows? Who knows what it was like across the rest of Canada as well?
Well, there's a Black Series Canada group on Facebook, and a lot of people had the same experience at their Walmart. It's like some people got lucky and their Walmarts were stocked, but a lot of people's weren't. So I just wonder how many tens of thousands, if not more, how much did Walmart miss out on Friday because they were somebody somewhere along the way screwed up. So I went into the Toys R Us, and this is, like I said, where I should have been all along. They had everything. Absolutely everything. I could have started from scratch right there, then and there, and gotten everything I wanted except for the 3 3/4 Luke. I saw a couple people walking around with one, and I feel like that was it. Like those were the only ones they had, and I would have missed those. But otherwise, that was it. So in the end, like my Force Friday was really frustrating and very demoralizing, just because store after store was just a big zero. Absolutely nothing going on. Toys R Us came through, but thankfully I had my Amazon order to fall back on. And I'll be honest, I completely expect that Amazon will at some point email me and go, yeah, we actually don't have those 3 3/4 Lukes. We know we said it was in stock, but sorry. Like I'm fully expecting something to fall through the cracks there.
Yeah, what a shit show.
Yeah, so not cool. Not cool. But it's in the past, and you know what? what I realized now that I essentially I got everything I wanted. It's all home with me here. I realized that like I think the collecting bug within me is dying. I think it's getting close to the end for me. Like I'll probably always buy something, but I feel like I'm on the cusp of having my collecting morph into something else.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying there. I mean, it was a lot this weekend. Like I said, I really got swept away. But it's kind of nice, even afterward. It's seriously almost like a drug, man. It's like even just looking at the box that they're all nicely stored in now, I'm just like, ugh. I feel like the dopamine entering my veins.
Any buyer's remorse?
Yeah.
Like you could take stuff back.
I might, I mean, don't need a stormtrooper really, but they're so cool looking. I mean, God, they're so cool.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying a minute ago, where I feel like my collecting is about to morph. Years ago, I would have done what you've done, and I needed everything. The completionist in me is dead. Thankfully, I'm kind of happy about that, because I saw the stormtrooper. I'm like, nah, don't need it. Like I didn't even consider it. There's so many figures. I was like, nope. Like I didn't buy the Finn 3 3/4. It's the same toy, just his T-shirt is white. So I Hux, nope. Don't need him.
Poe, nope. I was on the exact same page as you. I got no Hux, no Finn, no Poe.
I almost bought his ski speeder though. I had that in my arm. Like, I want this. I love that janky little ship. But I skipped that as well. But anyway, enough about Force Friday, that frustrating experience that it was. Oh, and I again, third year in a row, I tweet to Walmart Canada, and they're like, "Oh, we're so sorry for your experience, and we'll forward your feedback to the to those stores." Yeah, I've heard this before 3 times. You're not. It's the store managers at these places are not listening to the social media intern. You know what I mean? Like it's not happening.
Well, even at that, I mean, if the stores didn't get the supplies, I don't really think it's their fault.
Maybe they I don't know how it works, but do they have to order by a certain date? I don't know. Something somewhere at Walmart happened. For so many of these places not to have merch on Friday ready to go, something's up.
Just on a quick note before we move on from the toys, though, I did happen to see a nice little find for our Patreon users on Force Friday as well. I happened to make a little purchase for that crew.
Very cool. Well, we're not ready to reveal that just yet, but we will do that maybe as early as next week. Because I think I have something. I've got a bunch of things here.
I'd say it doesn't have to go in necessarily. There's no order to it, but it's just getting added to the stockpile. And at this point, there is a pretty good stockpile of some really nice stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, and the season's just kicked off, so we'll have some more stuff to throw into the pile to give away as the months roll by. But we can now move on to some of the many little bits of Star Wars news that dropped over the course of last week, and we'll build up to the elephant in the room, which was the Star Wars Rebels Season 4 trailer, the second one. We'll get to that before we get to listener questions. But first thing I wanted to hit on, Corey, this massive Millennium Falcon Lego set. Have you you've seen this thing, right?
Oh yeah, I saw when they were teasing it prior to, and plus it kind of got spoiled online what it was. But they were teasing this massive set.
Really? I hadn't seen anything about it until they're like, "Hey, check this thing out."
Oh no, they showed like just this pile of Lego, and they said that it was Star Wars related and it was this many pieces, and they didn't say what it was going to be.
No, yeah, that I saw, but I paid no mind to it. I was like, oh, that's cool. They're doing something big.
I kind of thought, I was talking with the guys at the Nerd Room, and I had speculated that it was that crashed Star Destroyer on Jakku, which would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
But no, Wesley chimed in and said, yeah, this is what it is.
Well, I mean, he lives so close to the ground zero of Lego in this world.
That's true. Right?
Yeah. Anyway, that thing
looks pretty amazing.
It's incredible. The detail is ridiculous. You know, I think looking at that thing and all the detail, I think I would prefer that then to almost any place that you could think of, vintage stuff excluded. That stuff just always holds a special place in my heart. But I can't think of anything else I'd rather have above that Falcon. It's too cool.
Well, excluding vintage playsets, what other kind of modern day playset is going to run you $800 US?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm forgetting the price. Man, I'm not thinking about, it's $800. I'd love to have it. That's not really factoring into why I want to have it. Anyway, but you know what? At $800, obviously there's a massive amount of sticker shock there, so it's not. I'm not even going to consider this. Like,
no, I think that's an item that you, unless you're really wealthy, like, you might have a little buyer's remorse on that after, or who knows, maybe not. Like, one thing I've learned, like, I was never a big Lego kid, but lately I've been doing some, quite a few Star Wars Legos with my son, like, and just that experience of doing it with him is that's cool. Like, it's fun, and I find it actually it's like a puzzle, like it's like making a puzzle. And anyway, he's dropped them all at least, once or twice, which is not fun. Don't drop this thing. And that makes you wonder too, if you build this thing, are you using the Kraggle?
No. Well, if you buy this thing, are you going to keep it sealed in factory box? Because this thing at some point is going to escalate from $800 or $1,000 to $15,000 or $2,000.
No, you got to build this thing. It was meant to be built.
Oh, I agree. It would be impossible for me to not crack it open and spend 3 weeks building it piece by piece. But someone out there is going to buy one and just keep it as an investment, for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Like, imagine you lost one piece. Like, not that you could mentally catalog all 7,541 pieces, but imagine you noticed, oh my God, like that little piece off of, just like a little piece of detail is missing out of your $900 Lego set. What are you going to do? Let it go, or just tear your house apart looking for it?
Yeah, you find it.
Yeah, anyway, a really cool set. It's got a couple little porgs in it too.
Yeah, it's got there's a whole slew of characters that come with it, which is also pretty neat, like spanning the era.
It's got a young Falcon, and old Han. I think young and old Leia.
It's got BB-8, Rey.
Oh, and it has both radar dishes for the Falcon, so you can build whichever era suits your fancy.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome. So anyway, let's thank our director of promotions for picking these one up out of his own personal stash of cash for our next giveaway.
Good one. They're already sold out. Sorry, bro.
Okay, moving on. We got some info on the First Order Executioner Stormtrooper. So there's a description of this Executioner Stormtrooper from the Black Series, which says the First Order can only operate effectively with the absolute loyalty of its followers. Should any soldier be guilty of treason, it is up to this special branch of stormtroopers to dispense final justice. End quote. So, you guys heard me say this a long time ago when we were speculating on what could happen in The Last Jedi. I think, was it the trailer or perhaps the behind the scenes reel? I can't remember, but you definitely heard it here first when I said that the two Executioner troopers we saw with their special weapon, those two have Finn and Rose's name on it. That was my prediction then. Other sites are now starting to run with it. Not that they're not crediting me, and I don't expect it. A theory is for everybody to kind of come up with. But I'm going to just say that it's confirmed. So if there's an execution scene with Finn and Rose, you heard it here first.
That makes sense, though. I mean, with those, their weapons are and their names and all that. Now we have confirmation that is actually their job.
Well, yeah, and just,
there was also that recent rumor. There's a recent rumor now that, there was a gentleman on his knees and kind of looked like Finn.
Oh, yeah, right. There was a stand-in, right? There's an image out there of what could have been Finn's stand-in. at the knees of this executioner, or on his knees in front of this executioner stormtrooper, like they're filming the execution scene. Like I said, like that was the point where right before they're about to be executed, Rey would show up and all hell would break loose.
Oh, that's exactly it. That's the kind of way I see it. Like, again, granted, we know now that if they have their own toy and they've been described like this, they're going to have somewhat of a scene in the movie. It could be with civilians, unlikely. It could be dispatching other troopers just to get the significance and, like, you know, you establish some kind of, like, hardcore thing for the First Order, you know, like, this is who we are. Like, look, we kill people. But it makes perfect sense that it would be Finn, you know, if they catch him when he's obviously undercover with Rose at one point. And it also kind of lends itself to that cover of that Mega Star Destroyer, Mega Class Star Destroyer or whatever, that toy, where you see Finn and Rey and Snoke all there. So it could be that moment, like you said, like, I've said it a couple times too, where, like, Rey's kind of like, oh, Luke, I gotta go help my friends, like, hearkening back to Empire. And then Luke being like, well, no, it's not really a good idea.
Yeah,
she's like, well, I don't care. Like, I gotta go help them.
That was something else,
now.
right? Like, that was something else I mentioned a few weeks ago.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that Rey would yeah, I think I said this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, that Rey would, she'd have a force vision of Finn and Rose in trouble, and she'd be like, I gotta go, I gotta get out of here. Direct parallel to Empire. And yeah, so she would take off on Luke, abandon her training midway, and yeah, be off to save Finn and Rose.
And it would kind of lend itself to thinking why Luke wouldn't be on that box too, right? Like, if he's kind of opposed to her doing that, like if her training's not completed or
the BB-8 placed that box, right?
What's the BB? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's nowhere to be found. Yeah, it's all signs kind of point to Rey showing up in that scene to bail out Finn and Rose. So yeah, we're starting to be able to put together a little bit of a framework here. Okay, so we can move on from that and into no unhelmeted Phasma in The Last Jedi. So we'll remember a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago, when the Vanity Fair images came out, and we saw, what's her name? Gwendolyn Christie? She's all up in her armor, but without the helmet. Well, there's Phasma. She's going to be unhelmeted in The Last Jedi. And everybody kind of just assumed that to be the case. But now we're hearing that, nope, it's not to be the case. And I got to say, I don't care. Like, if she's not somebody that we already know, or isn't connected to somebody we already know, who cares? Like, do you really care?
A little, but not so much because of that. Like, when I saw the Vanity Fair thing, it didn't, to me, mean anything about her unmasking herself in the movie. Like, it's just a photo shoot, kind of, you know, like, it's a stylistic thing. And, like, they're kind of portraying the actors more than the characters in a way. Kind of a bit of both, I would say, you know?
Well, it's a behind-the-scenes thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it to me, it meant nothing that her helmet was off for the movie. But I had heard something recently that, I can't remember where we heard it from, but there was something up with her face. Like, there was something not kosher about it that would have kind of possibly been shocking. So I'm a little disappointed because of that. Like, I was looking forward to that. It doesn't mean it won't be done in episode 9 either. And I think they're building up to it. I think there's a reason why they're stringently saying, like, no unmasking yet. You know, like, the unmasking is yet to come.
It's just a rumor. I don't think Lucasfilm has said anything.
In the rumor that they're saying that, you know, like, it's clear to them that what they've been told is there's to be no unveiling, like, of her face.
Licensees are being told, like, no images of Phasma without the mask. Like, she always has to have the helmet on.
Yeah, like toy makers and stuff.
That's fine. Whatever.
Well, either way, I love a good unmasking. I've beat on that drum a couple of times now in the past couple of weeks, but it's true. There's nothing like a good unveil. Granted, I don't know where they'll go with that character and how pertinent that actually is to the story, but in a way I'd like it to be. I hope that the reason why they're saying not yet is for there to be a reason behind it. Now, I know, again, I read this in the article, but in the novelization, supposedly she's a very beautiful woman who has 2 green stripes coming down from like right underneath her eyes, you know? Almost, in a way, I almost see it like a Viking tattoo, kind of.
Yeah, I can see that. Anyway, it's not something I dedicated a lot of thought to. Like, I don't care if they take her helmet off or not. Like, I haven't read the Phasma book, and I may or may not ever get around to it.
We'll put it this way: if they don't do it in episode 7 or 8, which we're hearing is not going to happen,
I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen in episode 7.
Well, for sure, it didn't happen in 7. We're hearing it's not going to happen in 8. So, you know, I'm pretty sure by 9, if the character's still around, then people are going to be like, "Oh man, what's up? What's cooking under there?" You know, you get people heated for this kind of thing too. Like, and again, I personally hope there may be some kind of interesting reason behind it.
Well, yeah, you just said it. Like, people get all worked up. Here's somebody who's got a decent sized role. We hope by the time The Last Jedi's finished, and she's in a helmet. Why won't you take her helmet off? God damn it! Get that helmet off her. But again, like, if she's not related to somebody or connected, I don't know. Like, she's.
It could still have some relevance. Like, dude, if she's all scarred up or something, and then like, you know, it comes off, like, it could be like a really like, whoa, like, she had a rough life. Like, it could be shocking, kind of.
I guess. But I thought that's what the purpose of the suit was for. This big chrome and intimidating, like, stormtrooper suit. That's supposed to be the scary persona. So if you take off the helmet and she's scarier underneath, like, I'm reminded of that Vince McMahon gif. Anywai, all I have to say, I don't care. Take her helmet off, leave it on. At this point, I don't care.
Yeah, she's the only one with actual laser-resistant armor anyway.
Is it laser-resistant?
I don't know. It looks that way.
That seems unfair. All right, let's move ahead. This Hungarian magazine with this picture of Luke. This really, really cool picture of Luke, which lasted as my wallpaper for about 3 days before it got supplanted. But what do you think, Corey?
I think it's a really cool picture. I mean, I really don't have much to draw from the character from this picture other than, you know, it's darker, worn robes. I think ponchos and things of this nature are going to be very essential on Acto. I think it's going to be a rainy little place, a rainy island. We've seen some rain in the trailer, but, you know, I think Luke has seen his fair share of rain. So he's got a good stylist, that's for sure. He's looking pretty hip. And he's definitely got a good hair guy, too.
Well, that's just it, right? He looks a little more coiffed here. The beard's combed down. His hair is a little bit styled. Like,
he's looking good.
Well, yeah, he looks great here. It's almost like there's a clarity and a striking tone to the look in his eyes, like a piercing gaze with his eye. It looks like something Christopher Lee would have done in his heyday when he was in all those monster movies. He just kind of looks possessed in a way. But you notice his tunic underneath with the belt. It looks a lot like Kylo Ren's uniform.
Yeah, kind of.
Really looks.
It's definitely dark, that's for sure. To me, it almost looks like a worn leather, though. A brown leather that's been worn. Almost cowboyish.
Yeah, I guess. Like, to me, the poncho adds to the whole cowboyness.
I definitely think... Again, we see Rey with one as well, so... I'd say you got the tunic and the poncho on top of your tunic, you know? It's like... Okay.
Anyway, I feel like the way Luke looks here, it's sort of at odds with what we've been told about the character. Like, this doesn't look like a broken, like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't look like a psychologically scarred recluse. Like, this looks like a guy ready for action.
I could see it either way. Like, again, he looks really coiffed and stuff and well presented. So
well,
from that standpoint,
that doesn't present the image of somebody who's just been crying in a cave for X number of years.
No, I think that's more just movies, but all I can really say is that he definitely looks a lot darker.
Well, it's also that plume of red, right? We always associate red in Star Wars with the Sith.
That's true. There is a plume of red. I didn't even notice that in the bottom left-hand corner.
So that wasn't lost on me. Just sort of the duality of the colors, what's going on here. It's just not that this is really telling us.
All that gray.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It's a cool picture. It's actually a really nice picture. Somebody did a really great job of photoshopping all the text out of it. I like it.
I like it too. Yeah. He looks badass.
Well, yeah, exactly. And again, that kind of plays against what Breznican told us about this guy who just doesn't want to do anything. Like this Luke.
Well, who knows? This could be after the fact, or at one point we're kind of assuming at this point as a fandom that Luke is okay. We've heard all this, that he's a broken Jedi and whatnot, but I'm pretty sure we're all under the presumption that he's gonna turn it around and hopefully come back. And this could be comeback Luke. Like, just let me go comb my hair. Hang on, trim my beard, put on my best attire. Let's do this.
Well, I guess that's the best we could hope for. Because yeah, this Luke looks like a Luke that's ready to lash out and take revenge. And I don't know. That doesn't necessarily play into what we've been told about Luke, which is good. I like kind of being in suspense here.
Yeah, and Jedi aren't supposed to seek revenge.
That too. All right, moving ahead. Snoke's Mega Star Destroyer. We'd been wondering about this thing. Like, remember last week we were asking if that giant Star Destroyer with the gun underneath, was that Snoke's ship? I didn't think it was, but it was possible. Well, now we know it sure as hell ain't.
Nope, not at all. This thing's awesome.
This thing's awesome. It's God, is this thing big? So Snoke's Mega Star Destroyer, the Supremacy, I think it's what it's called. It's 60 kilometers long. What in the hell?
Yeah, that's pretty insane, actually. That's half the Death Star.
Exactly. Like, that is a massive ship. And like, what is this fixation anyway with just taking everything the Empire did and just doubling it or tripling it or more? Like, is that...
Bigger's better.
Is it?
In space, probably.
I don't know. I get it and it looks cool, but if you keep just doing that, like the Gorilla Walker, like now we know it's about twice the size of an AT-AT. Like, does it make it more effective as a device in a movie just to say, oh, it's that one, like the one that scared you as a kid, that was so impressive on screen, but now it's just 10 times bigger or twice as big or whatever. Like, does that get old?
Somewhat. I mean, they can't really keep doing that, but I mean, it makes sense. You want more power. You want more artillery. You want it all.
I guess.
And this I kind of get. I didn't know it was 60 kilometers long. That part I missed that, but wow, that is just insane. Again, it kind of begs the question as to where it was built without anyone knowing.
It's the unknown regions.
So you got to kind of think, yeah, it's got to be.
It's the magical. It's almost like the first order equivalent of the wills of the Force, where if you don't know what to do, just say it's the wills of the Force. Oh no, this occurred in the unknown regions, so it's all good.
I like the unknown regions, though. I think it's interesting. I know they can. It's a loophole in a way, which I'm down with, but
you don't say.
Either way, it's their HQ, which is important. Like, this is their home base. It looks like it's Snoke's place, but it's First Order HQ. This is where their mobile attack center, and you kind of almost need, like, I wouldn't necessarily say something that big, but from what I read, like, this thing is capable of building ships from within it. not only repairing Star Destroyers and whatnot.
Well, yeah, if you look at the image from the top, I'd put 2 images in the show notes. If you look at the backside of the wings, you see these little triangular notches cut out of it. Like that to me is a Star Destroyer dock. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that, but everybody if you've seen that image, take a look. You'll see on each wing 3 triangular notches cut out of each wing, and it's minuscule, but I'd imagine that's where you dock your typical Star Destroyer. So
yeah, this thing's pretty cool.
We talked about how are they going to destroy the Gorilla Walkers? How do you take this thing down? Like, this is not a simple matter of concentrate all fire on the supremacy, like, and blow up a couple shield generators and it's over. Like,
call in the Hammerhead Corvettes.
I don't think that's going to work.
This time.
No. I don't know. This thing is big enough for some kind of rehashed trench run, but they better not do that.
Bring in the hammer of Ryloth.
Well, you kind of bringing me where I wanted to go. So back,
really? Oh boy.
Well, in The Force Awakens, MSW was talking about this ship that Leia had, and she was super proud of it. It was called, I think it was called the Sledgehammer. Now, obviously, it was scrapped out of The Force Awakens, but maybe this is a place where they could reinsert it. And all the Sledgehammer was just this giant ship, which was just built to slam into another ship. It was the Hammerhead. And maybe that's where it got recycled to. Maybe the Sledgehammer got turned into the Hammerhead Corvette, and we won't see that idea used again. Or maybe it was put on the shelf, and it will be recycled in episode.
Yeah, what good's that thing gonna do?
Well, it depends on how big they make it.
Exactly. Like, it can't be Hammerhead size because that was like an ant beside a Star Destroyer.
No. Like, my understanding was Leia's Sledgehammer was, something that could take out a Star Destroyer, just like smash right through it. So if they cut it from The Force Awakens, I guess they could take it back to the drawing board. Oh, this is actually a 10-kilometer long ship. Unlikely, but I thought, you know what? If you're going to take out the Supremacy, you're going to need a hell of a thing to take it out. Unless you have another.
That's insane.
Unless you take another run at its reactor, like Death Star 2. But geez, they can't do something we've already seen multiple times, right?
They got to get it in the path of a comet.
I think they have enough technology on board the ship to stay clear.
Yeah, that thing's pretty big. Who knows? Do you think it's coming down? Do you think it's coming down in this movie, or are we going to see it survive to episode 9?
I think it gets through to 9.
Yeah, you got to kind of think it's their HQ from what we see, so it's their base of operations. So if that's gone, they'd be kind of, they don't have Starkiller anymore. So
well, maybe taking this thing out is Leia's swan song,
or maybe it taking her out.
I don't think she'll go out like that. I think they'll make Leia go out doing something positive. Anyway, so keep your eyes open for the 1 million piece Lego kit that's only going to cost about $25,000. That's sure to come soon.
Couple years. The engineering behind it.
All right, so Ron Howard doing what Ron Howard does. And he led us behind the scenes again to see Paul Bettany on set, which was a real pleasant surprise. I like Paul Bettany a lot. But the first thing that jumped out at me about that picture was that he was wearing this black robe, which we've seen on Star Wars sets before. And it's something they use to conceal the actual costume underneath. And I thought, the first thing I thought was, well, he's wearing a white shirt. Could that be the white kimono that Michael K. Williams was talking about his character wearing before he got cut from the film? So I'm going with that. And it seems like that's the idea now, that this guy is in officially to replace Michael K. Williams. So makes sense to me. Small but key role that probably, I don't know. I guess it's too many falling dominoes to scrap the role and then dole out the responsibilities and duties of that role to other people, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, we had talked about it last week, and I was like, well, maybe his role wasn't that great because we hadn't heard anything about anyone being recast in this film. So maybe they just kind of X that whole scene now that Ron Howard's at the driver's seat. And yeah, I mean, now hearing this, the stature of Paul Bettany, like, it makes 100% sense to me now. Like you said, the white shirt is kind of a little telltale, but it makes so much sense coming right off the heels of the other news. So yeah, I mean, they don't want to scrap the character, so they got whoever was available, and Paul Bettany is a huge land, another big score for this movie. Like, this movie's a tour de force when it comes to actors now. It's like, it's amazing, like, how many people have been crammed into this movie. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, like, how do these things come together? Like, how does this happen? I would love to know the process that goes into place when they figure out that they can't use Michael K. Williams. Like, how long is there a back and forth before they go, he's unavailable, we got to move on, like, we have to move on? Is that a one phone call thing where they realize that the schedules don't line up? Is there a negotiation that goes on, or is it open and shut? We got to move on. And like this,
I'm sure it takes a bit of time. I don't think it's a one phone call thing, but
I get, yeah, probably.
But when they released the news last week, then I would think that Paul Bettany was already signed, good to go.
Oh, by the time we find out, yeah, like, he's probably already there. You know what I mean? He's already got his script. He's already prepped.
Oh yeah, he's already filming. It looks like, no?
Oh yeah, he's on set.
He looked like he was on set.
He's in costume. He's shooting. But I like, how does that happen? Like, Ron Howard knows the guy. They've worked together before on Beautiful Mind.
Well, that's it. He probably called him. He's like, look, I worked with him before. His schedule's free. Like, let's get him. He can do this character. Perfect.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, Ron Howard just knows, oh, my buddy Paul, he's not doing anything right now. Like, he knows what all of his pals are up to at any given moment.
Oh, whatever. He's a phone call away, probably. Paul, what's your schedule like in the next couple weeks? You want to come do the Han Solo flick? Hell yeah.
Anyway, it had to have happened pretty quickly. I would have loved to have heard that conversation. Like, does Ron Howard make that call?
For him, it's a dream come true.
I guess
I think he would have if he knows him. Like you said, they'd worked together on, I think, what was it? Angels and Demons?
Yes. Or Da Vinci Code. And I think also Beautiful Mind. I think they did it. They worked together on both.
Yeah, it was Da Vinci Code, not Angels and Demons.
But yeah, it's in my mind, in my head canon of this situation, Ron Howard picked up the phone and called his buddy Paul. In reality, it probably went a different way, like the casting director calling Paul Bettany's agent. But I like to think buddies hammered this out quickly.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, anyway, I think the Han Solo movie just, I mean, not to disparage Michael K. Williams, he's a fine actor. Everybody was sorry to see him go. But I think Paul Bettany is going to do a fantastic job. All right. And now the biggie. So we had Fan Expo up here in Canada this past weekend. Our good pal Rob Cast from the Roman Podcast and TSW Comics and the TSW Roundtable, he was in attendance, and he sat in on the Rebels trailer and teased us all weekend with a bunch of stuff that he saw. Lucky guy that he is. But then the big tuna dropped, the second trailer for season 4. So Corey, what were your first thoughts on this? Were you surprised to see this drop?
That there was a trailer? Yeah. Yeah, a little, but once I had heard, I was like, okay, it makes total sense. Dave Filoni had been posting stuff about being in Toronto a whole week, about following the White Lost Cat, which is kind of cool, because we both know the Toronto area somewhat, so, he was on the GO train and this and that. We knew there was the panel, so, yeah, I mean, it's amazing, like
these are all telltale signs that something we should have been prepared, like we should have been talking about a Rebels trailer last week. Oh, we're going to get one this weekend. But there was none of that chatter, at least that I saw. Then suddenly, I got a notification on my phone. Oh, look, a Rebels trailer.
Yeah, it was this trailer. I don't know if it's just that they're getting good at making trailers, but man, oh man, this thing just had me from, again, right off the hop.
Really?
Like everything. Oh, dude, the music, the hook at the beginning with the lost cat, it was amazing.
This trailer didn't do a lot for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I had full on feels, man. It was like full throttle.
No, I feel like they've done better trailers in the past. Like this one, partially it's me. Like I feel out of touch with Rebels right now. I feel like it's been so long since the end of season 3, which was overshadowed by Twin Suns, that a lot of this trailer didn't connect with me or situate me in terms of where we're at and where we're going. And I'm not insulting the show or the trailer. We're saying it's a bad trailer. In the end, it's a really good trailer. But it didn't do a whole lot for me to go, oh, I can't wait for October 16th, which is when season 4 kicks off.
Really? What is wrong with you?
I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I will absolutely be stoked by the time October 16th rolls around. But this trailer just didn't do a ton for me.
Dude, right off the hop for me, it was like the music again, first of all, and then you hear Lothra, Lothcat, Lothwolf Run, pick a path, and all is done.
Like that sounds like something out of Goonies to me.
I don't know. It's just, there's something about it that I loved. It seemed that was all Star Wars to me. Like it seemed like it was Star Wars, and it almost seemed like a bit foreboding again. And that voice, like again, the voices at the beginning too. It was like the hook. You hear like everybody screaming, like Ezra, like Anthony, like all these voices. It was like, dude, this is gonna be a heavy season. And I love the fact that like Mandalore, Jesus, like Sabine is kicking some major ass, man. Like she is bringing the pain.
Oh yeah, I mean, I spent the last day or so since watching the trailer trying to just jog my memory. Okay, where was Sabine at? Oh yeah, right. She took off to reestablish things on Mandalore. She came back to help in the finale. Got it. Okay, where's Kanan at? Where's Kanan at? Like he's with the group, right? Last we saw of him, he went
to go see Bendu.
That's the last thing we saw? No.
Oh, he saw Bendu, he came back, and he's with the crew. Like his last major thing was talking to Bendu and getting them all pissed off.
But he had a little exchange with Callus after they picked up Callus, right?
Yeah.
That's the last we saw of Kanan.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they're all together for sure.
Ezra's back with them after recruiting Sabine's help. Yeah.
Zeb's there, Chopper's there.
And again, it's me. Like it's been 5 months or so since Rebels ended. It's just been out of mind. I guess I was just caught off guard by this trailer, and I just feel discombobulated, disconnected from the series at this point.
Well, I'm definitely not disconnected from the series. That's for me for sure. But the trailer did get me discombobulated because, in my opinion, was so goddamn good. Like it just saw everything in this trailer, man. Like X-wings and like this crazy like war on Mandalore and like things with the rebellion are coming to a head. You got Saw, Thrawn, like.
So I guess one of the things where it didn't really resonate that hard for me is I don't know what the focal point of the series of this season is. Like I know I already know because we follow it and we follow all the narratives and all the news. It's going to wrap up Ezra's story. It's going to wrap up little plot threads properly this time because they've planned this ending instead of like having the rug pulled out with Clone Wars. But I don't know exactly what's happening. Like, is the siege of Lothal still happening?
Oh yeah, Lothal's in big trouble. Like I think that's a big thing in the trailer. Again, they said like Ezra's like talking, I think to Mon Mothma saying like, you promised my planet help. Like, what's going on? And she's like, I don't think we can right now. We can't afford a full-scale war. Then, like, Guerrera's chiming in, like, you're never going to win a war like this.
Yeah. And those are all cool. But it doesn't, like, it doesn't paint any picture of what the big overall story is for the season. Like, when they introduced Thrawn, they said Thrawn would have lines like they'll be the architects of their own demise, which kind of highlights what Thrawn's going to do. He's going to play them against each other, or he's going to use their tactics against them. Like, I
don't know. I think we saw that in season 4. Season 3. Sorry.
That's what I mean. Like, in previous trailers, you'd get a sense of what was happening. Like, Thrawn was in this trailer, but it was almost like he was being talked down to by Tarkin. Like, what is Thrawn doing in this season? I don't know.
From what I understand, Tarkin and him are on the same page. We know that Tarkin does not like Krennic, who's mentioned in this trailer, which is so cool. Project Stardust is mentioned.
Yeah, very cool.
So I think that's where they're kind of headed with this. Like, Thrawn is up to something. It could be his, what are the names of his ties?
Those are the TIE defenders?
I think so, yeah. So possibly, and we know they're going after an Imperial facility, but I think there's gonna be something big with the rebellion and Thrawn. Like, again, Thrawn's a mastermind. He's this crazy Grand Admiral. Like, I think he has the potential to wipe out the rebellion. So to get him out of the way, to allow the rebellion to move forward afterward, is a win unto itself, pending how they build up to it. But it looks like they're going after some kind of Imperial facility, and something that's, like, as Saw said, like, you want to do something that is going to matter.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Just it's probably just me. But let's do your official list of things that stood out to you. Let's go back and forth. So go ahead. What's something that really, really jumped out at you as cool or not cool?
Well, I like the whole Lothra, Lothcat, Lothful thing. I think that's really interesting. There's a lot of, like, mysticism and magic behind that all. So I like where they're going with that. The Mandalorian War looks like it's going to be so cool. Let's see, we got 2 Tubes is back, which is amazing.
Yeah, that was cool. I liked seeing 2 Tubes.
I like that the fact that the whole crew seems to have had a bit of a makeover. Like, everyone's looking just a little bit different. Ezra's got his cool little biker scout helmet. Sabine's changed her look. Zeb's got a new look. Hera's in her new X-Wing pilot suit.
Yeah, that's pretty rad. I like her in that suit. Suits her well.
Another big thing, too, is that Thrawn plans on capturing Hera. And Hera, in my opinion, is not only is she the heart of the Ghost crew in Phoenix Squadron, but she's pretty much at the heart of the rebellion, too. She's like the space mom of the rebellion, in a way. So if Thrawn's looked at the whole grand scheme of things and is like, I need to get her, and then it's going to be like the linchpin, I'm going to pull the string on their sweater and they're slowly going to come undone.
Well, yeah, I guess if you capture Hera, then, that pulls the Jedi, especially Kanan, into the mix. So he feels like maybe he can knock them all out.
I thought it was interesting, too, the way when they're talking about how we choose to fight. Did you see Ezra's eyes again?
Yeah, looking very hyperspacey.
Reminiscent of the time like the time he was talking to the Purgles. Yeah.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
I don't know either, but it's interesting. And him telling Kanan that they're choosing the wrong way of fighting.
Well, isn't it, so? His eyes got that way when he, I guess, communicated with Purgles, i.e., an animal, right? Yeah. So maybe he's gonna have.
Oh, for sure, it's got to do with the Loth.
So maybe he's communicating with that Lothwolf somehow, which is not
for sure.
Ahsoka.
That's 100%. No, I agree. But I 100% agree with that. I do think he is, because you see kind of in that scene, the wolves are starting to, like, surround them but to come at Kanan, and Kanan kind of reaches for his lightsaber, and Ezra's just, like, kind of walking, like, in that trance, like, how he communicates with animals so well,
Yeah, and they had Kanan and Ezra had this chat about maybe they're fighting the wrong way.
Yep. Then Kanan also confronting Hera. That was pretty heavy, bro. Come on.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt that's pretty heavy.
Like, when he's telling her straight up, like, so I guess you never thought about you and I. Like, boom. I was like, oh. Like, that's foreboding, too. Like, I don't think that bodes well for Kanan in a way. I think they're trying to build something up there. Like, sadly. But, yeah.
Yeah, well, things are going to happen, man. Yeah, I love that they mentioned Stardust. I love that they mentioned Krennic by name. The closer they can bring this into Rogue One and the rebellion at large, the better in my books. So here's a question I'll put to you.
Did you see Chopper's new paint job?
He's always got new paint jobs. The yellow one?
No, but like, yeah, the yellow one. But that was pretty prominent throughout. So I don't know if that's kind of scaring me a bit, because in Rogue One we see him back to his normal orangey ways, but this thing he looks like he got a bit of an upgrade almost.
Nah, he's just got painted up. That's all. So there's a shot of that walker, little ATST modified walker with that array of lights on the side and that electrical whatever mounted on the front of it.
Yeah, that looked pretty crazy.
So it disintegrated a Mandalorian. Now, is that walker or the thing attached to it? Is that the weapon that Sabine created that she's been all emo about for the last couple years?
Dude, really good theory. I like that a lot. Very possible.
That's what I'm thinking, man. We see her. I think she was with, is it Bo-Katan? And you see both of them get zapped by it at one point.
I don't know if they're getting zapped by that or something else, though. I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. Just one of them is mounted to a walker and the other is like in a storage facility. And maybe the one we saw in action that melted down that Mandalorian soldier. Maybe that's a flashback scene and not actually part of the Mandalorian.
No way.
No, maybe it is. I don't know.
There's a Mandalorian there. This is like being pummeled right now, supposedly, when we start this story.
Yeah, it's on lockdown, Kanan said, right?
Oh, dude, I'm so stoked about this. God. How long have you waited to see, like, Mandalorians in war, like?
Well, I was happy with what we got in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, but that was just one, well, yeah, the Clone Wars, yeah.
Like, remember that scene, that shot where that big, like, hangar door opens and you're looking at it, like, from Obi-Wan's point of view? And it's just complete, total, all-out warfare. That scene was wild. Like, I was satisfied with that as far as Mandalorians goes. But more is more. I think more in this case is hopefully better.
Dude, it's gonna be awesome. Lots of good story arcs, lots of things to finish off for each character. Like, Sabine's got a huge presence in this show now. Hera and Kanan. It's Ezra's show. Don't forget Chop. Zeb too. Zeb's looking good with his new little outfit.
What's that big orange helmet he's wearing?
I don't know. He almost looks like one of like Fat Albert's crew or something.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I think one of the big questions we have to ask ourselves is like, what can this Rebels crew accomplish? Like, they have to go out saying, this is what we've done for the rebellion before the show ends. Like, we know Hera's going to move on, as will Chopper, but the rest have to have accomplished something too. Otherwise, like, what was all this for?
Well, I think it's got to have something to do with Thrawn. I don't know if it's that TIE Defender that he's been producing, like saying, like, if this thing reaches mass production, like, your rebellion's done. Could be possibly that, depending on how they write it and how well built the ship is. But maybe it's something even deeper than that, whereas, if Thrawn succeeds in whatever he's attempting to do, then the rebellion, again, will be wiped out.
Yeah, I think the X-Wings take out. The X-Wings are going to prevail over the TIE Defenders. That's my call.
I want to see, honestly, that's what I want to see, a look of shock on Thrawn's face. Like, what vehicle is that? Unknown class, sir. Like, and then just start kicking ass, and he's like, no.
Yeah, I hopefully I would like to see Thrawn have his reign ended in the season 4.
And it's got to be done. It's got to be Hera too to put it in his face.
Oh, it's got to be Hera. Hera's somehow got to be the one to take this guy out, no doubt. Like he's been after her for a while, so I hope she's the one that gets.
Callus too. They have a bit of a history, but no.
Yeah.
Another moment that stood out to me too is what does Hera say? Like someone's asking her, like, "Are you sure your ship can go undetected?"
Yeah, that's Dodonna.
Like, yeah, and they don't call us the Ghost Crew for nothing. Like, boom! Like this crew is the bomb, man. Like, I'm gonna be so sad when the show's over. Like, I don't know how Star Wars the next time around is gonna top this show for me. Like, again, I haven't seen this season yet, but everything leading up to this point, and again, I'll say this again. When you look at this show from season 1 to season 4 as a whole in the long run, it's amazing, man. Like, I'm sure I have full faith in Dave Filoni with, him actually having the time to finish the story and being a bit, maybe even a little preemptive on it. Like, finishing it this season is saying something to me. Like, this is the story. It's good the way it is. And you'll enjoy it, and it's a nice little package the way it is.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, this is finishing it like this, letting Filoni wrap up the story in his way. Like, there's no other way to do this. You got to let him do it his way. Anything else before we skip ahead here?
Anyway, again, I think you should watch it again. And again and again.
You can't stand the thought of someone not being completely wild about something with the Star Wars logo on it.
No, that's not true. But this, I don't know. I'm telling you, like, I watched this trailer once, I got goosebumps. I watched it twice, I got goosebumps. Like, I watched it many times so far, and every time
I think this is the first trailer where I didn't have that same reaction. Like, all the other ones was like, yeah, the hair stands up on the back of your neck. This time I was like, okay. Cool.
I think you're just you're too Star Wars out right now with Force Friday.
Can you be Star Wars out? I suppose you could. Am I Star Wars out? I don't know. It's been a day. Maybe I am. Not in the best mood today. Okay, so we normally wouldn't do this. We normally save this for the Binary Sunset. But we will insert it here just to keep the show nice and tight and streamlined. And since we're on Rebels now. But Katie sent in a question this week. And so it pertains to Rebels. So rather than skip ahead and then come back to Rebels later, we'll just put in Katie's question now. And we'll tackle it. We'll tackle Rebels all in one fell swoop. So this week from Katie. With the release of the second Rebels Season 4 trailer, I am wondering, what are you looking forward to most in Rebels Season 4? And what do you fear for? And who do you fear for most? I am looking forward to seeing Callus work more with the Rebels, anything Mandalorian, and I do want to get some clarification on Ahsoka. I fear for Callus, after his defection from the Empire to the Rebels, there will most likely be some sort of situation where he does the ultimate sacrifice and gets the hero's death. I also fear a lot for Kanan. He is focused on a lot in this most recent trailer, and I do feel that something has to happen to him so that Ezra can become a full-fledged Jedi Knight. All right, Corey, where are we going to start with this? What are you looking forward to the most? I get your top 3 things.
Well, this kind of seems a bit broad, but what I'm really looking forward to is just an awesome conclusion to not only the characters but the story. We want to see. You were just hearkening on this, Kyle. I want to see the full impact of the Ghost Crew and the Phoenix Squadron's overall impression left on the rebellion, on the overall rebellion. Like, I don't think it's any coincidence that Sabine's artwork is very closely related to the Rebel Alliance symbol. Now, the Rebel Alliance symbol is actually it's symbolic of a phoenix, and the Ghost Crew is like the genesis of Phoenix Squadron. Like, these guys rise from the ashes, man, and they built the rebellion. That's why I believe this crew, it really is like it's the glue that bound the rebellion together and drew everyone together as a whole for it all to be able to move forward afterwards. So that's why I love this crew so much, you know? So I'm really just looking for a justice to be had to the story, to the characters, and yeah, everyone involved. There's so much to look forward to, you know?
All right, so now I have to needle you to get more specific.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to see how the characters are handled, but more specifically, Kanan and Ezra. Like, there's a lot of conjecture on the internet right now about what's going to happen with these two, because, you know, they muddied the waters having brought these Force users into the game, which I totally disagree with. But, you know, like, how are they going to handle them? That I'm curious, and I have full faith that they will accomplish whatever they need to do. I'm totally on the same page as Katie in the sense that I felt a bit of foreboding for Kanan. Like, he wasn't so much focused on this trailer, but the things that he was saying, like, I see what Katie's kind of saying there as well. I felt that as well, that they're building up that kind of love angle between him and Hera, and
it's something that's not meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's that, and the fact that he's Ezra's mentor. Like,
mentors never have an easy path in Star Wars.
No, so I'm looking forward to that. I think she makes a really good point about Callus as well, and I want to see where this character's headed, what he has to offer the rebellion. I like what you said about the hero's exit. Makes sense, for sure. Also, really want to hear about Rex. I'm a big fan of Rex. I love what he's done thus far, and again, touching upon what Katie said, it would be nice not for them to totally flush things out, but a mention of Ahsoka would be very nice in this season.
Well, that's on my list. So my top 3, like I'm most looking forward to X-Wings. Like, this is in no particular order, really, but seeing X-Wings is something I've been pining for a long time, and totally gonna get it now, which thrills me to death. Like, I can't wait to see these ships, my favorite starfighters, sort of, I guess, unshackled from the limitations of stop motion. And I know we saw them digitally briefly in A New Hope, but this will probably be our best look at. No, you know what? Rogue One as well. Rogue One, they look pretty good, but this will be something different and fresh, I think, for X-Wings. So that's one thing. Ahsoka, yes, I totally want to know where she is, what she's become, who she's spending her time with now, if anybody. I hope we get those answers. I know they're going to leave us dangling. That's what Dave Filoni does. He just leaves you in a very unconclusive state. So I totally expect that we'll touch base with Ahsoka. He had that Ahsoka Lives shirt. I don't think that's for nothing. But I don't think by any stretch we're going to say, oh yeah, she's doing this, and we can expect to see her there. I think once this ends, who knows what's in Ahsoka's future. And finally, very specifically, Hera. What she's become so compelling. I mean, she always has been, but like you mentioned, like Kanan asked her, like, when are you going to feel like you've done enough? And she's, I don't know. It's not something she thought about. So it sounds like the whole space married thing, hashtag, it's not a thing for her. Yes, she loves him, but the rebellion comes first, second, and third. So I want to see how they resolve that, which plays into what Katie said about being afraid for Kanan. I totally agree that, again, not only because he's the mentor and bad things happen to mentors, but like what will be his role? Like, it sounds like he wants out, like he has said many times in the past. So maybe he's gonna get shown the door. I can't see him walking away. So I don't know. I don't see a happy ending for Kanan.
Unfortunately, no, me neither. It's hard to imagine at this point. Just, again, knowing what we know from the movies, from Yoda, it's, seems like that's the case, and there's nothing greater in Star Wars than a heroic sacrifice, too, you know? Like, as long as it's for the right reasons, like, it's gonna be amazing.
Well, I guess your right reasons might differ from somebody else's right reasons, but it seems like his purpose in this story is dwindling. Like, Hera doesn't want a future with him necessarily. He's already confessed that he can't really help Ezra anymore. So,
well, she also said to him in this thing too, in this trailer, where he's like, "I wish I could see you," and she says, "You've always been able to see me," you know, like.
Well, yeah, but it's still very obvious that the rebellion is all consuming for her. Like, she's not going to walk away. So it just seems like Kanan has less of a responsibility. Like, it's great if he wants to stick around and help out. Otherwise, like, he can't. He's at the end of his rope with Ezra. He can't teach him anymore. And
he's still the father of the group too. Like, for sure, he's not gonna let us down. That's for sure.
Oh, I don't think anybody will. But it seems like Kanan really has the end of the line in sight.
Well, it makes the most sense for his character, we'll say that. It's not that he doesn't have much to do moving forward, it's just, it makes the most sense for his character to, you know, being so close to Hera, being so close to the crew and Ezra, you know, would be sad to say, but, you know, it'd be that one that kind of gets us in the feels and makes sense.
Yeah. I have to wonder if, you know, if what we've seen, wow, this just crossed my mind, but the footage that we were shown, is this stuff that spans the whole 15 episodes, or is this something that really is the first half of the season? Like, could we lose Kanan halfway through the season? And then his death is motivation for Ezra and Hera for the back half.
No, and how many episodes are we confirmed for this season again? I think we said it was 15, yeah. No? Okay, good. Because I had heard 10, and I was like, I don't think it's 10.
No, it's 15.
Okay. But still a shorter season than normal. By like 8.
Oh, yeah. 7-8 episodes. It's a third shorter. What about Kallus? Do you think it's over for Kallus?
Seeing as how we haven't heard from him moving forward, I don't want to say I'd like to think so, but unless he's Crix Madine, which Pablo's already shot down.
Well, that came up again this weekend at Dragon Con. Somebody, Henry Gilroy was at Dragon Con this weekend, and somebody pretty much asked him, are there any chance that Kallus is Madine? And he kind of laughed it off. So,
yeah, it's not going to happen.
No, I mean...
So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense for, like Katie had said, the hero's farewell, the sacrifice, and, like, in our eyes, too, like, a lot of people have a hard time accepting the bad guy sometimes, you know? So when you really know that they make that full sacrifice and that you can kind of say, well, yeah, I can't take that away from him. Like, he did understand the error of his ways.
Oh, yeah. He realized that he was working for a bunch of jackasses. The Empire is not a good employer. So he left.
I'd like to see him. You know, we haven't really seen him. We know that he defected and whatnot, but it'd be nice to see him throughout the season, like commanding things on the rebellion side. Be like, no, wait, just wait. And they're like, wait, but sir. And he's like, just wait. And then now, you know, it's like he knows how the Empire works, right? So it's not like they're going to change all their protocols just because they know one guy defected. So like he'll know the rebellion or the Empire kind of inside out, so he could be an invaluable asset in that sense.
Well, wasn't Thrawn like didn't he? Geez, again, I'm so disconnected. But at one point, he was using Kallus to get closer to the rebels.
Yeah, toward the end of the season.
Now that he's gotten away, like Thrawn is sort of done with that train of thought, right? Like he thought that he thought that Callus would lead them to the rebels so that they could crush them. But now that they all got away, I don't know that he's still thinking, oh, I could still use Callus.
No, we can't use Callus, but I mean, there could still be that rivalry between the two.
You know, when we saw Callus with this, you know, the longer hair, and he was sort of on that, I guess, was that Yavin 4? That wild planet he's on? Like, I wonder if he's like into like a semi-retirement.
No, he's planning with them. In the trailer, I made sure they were in like the war room where there was like Dodana, Rex, Hera, everybody, and he was there.
I wonder if he's just sort of there as like a consultant. Like he's maybe not a full-fledged member of the rebellion, but if you need me, call me. I'll give you my thoughts. I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know if I so much see him in the front lines so much anymore, but definitely I would see him as a strategist and a big help.
Oh yeah, giving away trade secrets, no doubt about that. But like, so the minute that Callus, in that scene at the end of The Honorable Ones, we see him sitting there by himself, and you obviously know that he's having second thoughts about being part of the Empire. I think for most fans, that's the moment that he went from heel to face, right?
Yeah.
So, like, he's in our hearts now. Like, we all love Callus now,
for the most part.
And so I think killing him off is if you don't plan on killing off Kanan, which I could also see. I could see Kanan not dying, but somebody will pay for this, and I think Callus is a pretty effective person to get rid of that would hit us in the feels, but it would still not impact the core group. Does that make any sense?
Well, definitely. I definitely think that someone's going to have to pay the price, and I don't want to say it's... A lot of people are in the sense that it's going to be the whole crew. I definitely think that's not the case. It can't be. This is a kid's show. You got to pick and choose here what's going to happen to the characters, depending on how they do it, if someone becomes one with the Force or whatever, but it does make 100%... It makes sense for Callus to go. Like, it's going to hit us in the feels. He's going to do it the right way, I would think. You know, it makes sense for that character. We don't see him as a part of the rebellion moving forward, so it makes sense to write that character out.
Yeah, maybe he takes like a suicide run at Thrawn or something.
I could see that. Well, Satawa already did that, so.
Oh, this is. I mean, one aimed directly at Thrawn, because we saw Callus standing around that big war room table, but that doesn't mean that everybody likes his presence there. They could be all giving him the stink eye. And he goes, okay, you know what? I'm not wanted I can't go to the Empire. The rebels don't want me. Okay, I'll have to prove myself the old-fashioned way. And he takes a run at Thrawn.
Yeah, it's possible. I'd like to see it in the sense that it's like a hand-to-hand between them again, like in that one episode where he knows he's the Fulcrum agent. But a hand-to-hand where Callus is just, again, taking a bit of a beating, and then, at the last seconds, kind of like, come here, like holding on to him, and like, they're both kind of go.
Yeah. I still think somehow maybe Saw Gerrera is going to take a piece of Thrawn.
That's true too. I'm still kind of banking on that in Rebels too, that I would think that the injuries that we see Saw has in Rogue One are sustained in Rebels Season 4.
We talked about that a while ago, right? Like, in
it's
retrospect, that's pretty grisly.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're going to see the aftermath of it, but we'll see what exactly, like, if his ship explodes or whatever it is, But
we see him now. He's a bit crazier, right? The last time we saw him on Rebels, he had did he have no hair or black hair?
He had black hair, and now his hair seems to be all gray.
He almost looks like Rogue One Saw. So we're really close here to Rogue One, like really close. And
and it could be this could be the reason where the rebellion kind of parts ways with him too, because like he seemed to be butting heads with Mon Mothma quite a bit.
Oh yeah, like there seems to be a complete lack of being on the same page with these two. Like he said the rebels were like doing Mon Mothma's errands or something like that, right? It seems to indicate that he has no respect for what she's doing or what the rebellion at large is doing. Like he probably feels the rebellion is just way too soft.
Yeah, they're taking their time too much.
Yeah, just not aggressive enough. So yeah, I think we'll see that split crystallize in season 4, which I think really needs to happen. I think will be a highlight of that season. All right, are we done with Rebels for now?
Never done with Rebels, but for now, yeah.
I think we're going to keep doing Rebel breakdowns. Once the season comes back in October, but I think we're going to publish those episodes separately from the main show, because we don't need to be doing 2-hour, 45-minute, 3-hour shows every week. So we can split that up somehow, I think.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Katie. Thank you for that great question. We got to talk a little more Rebels, a little bonus Rebels coverage for you there. All right, we're going to take a quick break. The next voice you will hear is that of Ads, the Venerable Knight of the Commonwealth. And then we will be back with the Binary Sunset featuring Ads and Bradley and Jeffrey.
Hello, chaps. I hope you're both well. I hope you've enjoyed the wonders of Force Friday and all that excitement. It does look as if you've both got some good stuff. However, my initial question relates to Force Friday and the general issues that we've come across this year and previous years and probably in future years. Products being on shop floors days, if not weeks in advance in some cases, no consistency at all, and other shops not really appreciating the popularity and expectations that fans have for that day. So what would you do differently? If you were in charge, how would you improve things? Okay, and my second question, when Luke and Rey met, do you think that Luke knows who Rey is? And if he doesn't, do you think that might be the reason why he changes his mind and agrees to train her? Because he finds out from Force Ghost Obi-Wan Kenobi or Force Ghost Yoda her true identity. I.e., Luke, she's my granddaughter. Or even, Luke, you remember Han's 40th birthday celebrations at Mos Eisley? Well, there's something I need to tell you. And then finally, great opening episode of Sith Disturbers. Really, really enjoyed listening to it. And if anyone is listening who is thinking, shall I sign up for that? I'd strongly recommend it. More Carl, more Corey, what's not to like? Have a great show. I'll look forward to listening as always, and I will speak to you guys next week. Take care. Bye.
And there he goes once again, everybody. It's Ads, the wonderful Ads. Again, we need that the hamstring update. You back out running yet, buddy?
Yeah, seriously, man. I'm concerned.
Well, he doesn't sound in any pain. He sounded downright lovely this week.
Yeah, I really enjoyed listening to his email this week, or his voice message, sorry.
Yeah, it was fantastic, as it always is. All right, so let's break this one down into the trio of questions that it was. So we're back at Force Friday, Corey. What would you do differently if you were in charge of Force Friday? So I guess this kind of puts you in sort of the God seat. You can be in charge of the manufacturing, the marketing, all of it. What would you do? How do you fix this?
Well, first and foremost, I think marketing for the event should be a little more prominent. I didn't see any marketing whatsoever about this event aside from within social media. And that's because basically my Twitter account is a Star Wars account. Like, that's all I'm there for. I'm there for this show and Star Wars. Like, I don't want to talk about politics, all that stuff. It's just all Star Wars all the time. So that's the only reason I really found out about it. So if the local retailers made it a little more enticing for fans to come and what they were kind of offering, that would be a start. Then again, I think we need to look at bigger fines for retailers who, unleash this stuff early and kind of set off this domino effect, if you will.
Yeah, that would be a good place to start. Like, the marketing thing is tricky. Like, how do you tell a retailer what to market?
Well, it's pretty easy in this case anyhow. It's like, look, across all the world on this one day, there's this thing called Force Friday. There's a lot of Star Wars fans out there. Like, take it from there, but this is the day it's happening, and this is the day the toys should be released. And you will have people wanting to buy these toys, so why not make an event of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's in their best interests to market the hell out of it. And our local flyers were so weak. They had like a couple of Force Friday thumbnails on old product pictures. And this is what some of the staff at Walmart were like, see, no, this is what we have. I'm like, no, that's old. And they look at me as if like I'm the one telling them like how to do their jobs. Like, no, I just know that Lando picture is old. Like, don't show me that. Anyway, I
got a few more here if you want.
Yeah, keep going.
All right, so what they really could do, like the vendors, anyhow, can reach out to someone like myself and reach out for a 3PL logistical solution in the sense that, they ship the freight about a month early as planned, but it doesn't go to the retailers directly. It would go to a storage facility probably till about a day or two before it's supposed to be available to the public. So that's one thing. A really costly solution might be to put like some kind of time lock on the pallets themselves. Like, I don't see them investing that kind of money, but it could be the solution, like, hey, this thing opens on this date and that's that. Like, you can't do anything about it. It's September 1st, you can open this pallet. Aside from that, you're going to need like a chainsaw.
All right.
My last one would be, I guess, the barcode thing, which they kind of put in place this year, but it would be more, again, at the vendors, on the vendors end where, this barcode is not even, the SKU number is not even in their system till the 1st of September, which again would probably be a nightmare for everybody.
Oh yeah, no, that stuff gets set up, like we deal with Walmart, and that stuff is set up long in advance. All of that stuff.
Well, it could all be set up, but just not available. It's not like it's set in a lot of stores, not available for purchase until September 1st. So
yeah, I don't know how that all fell apart. It seemed to be Walmart was the only one doing it, right? Like I don't think Toys R Us broke any of those rules. Not that I saw anyway. It was always Walmart. Now I don't know if they think they're so big that I dare Hasbro to fine us. We'll drop them.
Yeah, holier than thou.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if Walmart says, if Hasbro sends us a fine, we'll just throw out all their toy lines. I really don't think they. I don't know. It wouldn't shock me either way. But one of the changes I would make, I like even way back on the purchasing level, like whenever they determine how much of a product to produce, like I would fix that. Like I would stop making figures from basic collections so damn hard to get. Like there's no reason why we had to go in there ready to elbow people to get a Hera or to get a 3 3/4 Luke. I get the thrill of the chase thing, but there's no reason to make basic figures hard to find. That's what exclusives are for. If you want to make an exclusive Rey or an exclusive insert character here, go ahead and do that. Like this figure is only going to be at blank number of locations. And if you want one, maybe you might have to drive 2 hours to get one. They won't be available online. The only way to get it is to be in this store. And if you do that for an exclusive figure, great. That's your own thing. But just the basic stuff, like why is there only one figure per case of that character, but 3 of that character? It doesn't make sense. So I would fix that.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with you there. I like maybe a little more abundance in what you're saying. Maybe like 2 per case of that one character or whatever you're saying. But I think it does fall into that whole, like, if everything's so easily available to everyone, then, it kind of takes the fun out of the hunt.
Well, again, who's this for? These are toys, right? These are not, they're sold at Toys R Us, which is a children's store. These are toys. If there were collectors doing this stuff when we were kids, we'd be furious. Can you imagine? Do you remember people barging into stores at 8:00 in the morning when Star Wars toys first dropped and grabbing all the figures off the pegs and running away with them? I was very young, obviously. I don't remember that. I don't remember reading stories of that.
Well, anyway, for the 6-inch series, I kind of see it. For the 3 3/4, that should be more widely
a bit fair.
distributed.
The Black Series stuff is priced and aimed at a bit of an older demographic. But the 3 3/4, there's no reason, none, that they should be made so scarce.
I was kind of shocked about that, Luke, and even you and I had talked this weekend. It was so funny. Ads were like, I'm like, yeah, no sign on Luke. Kyle's like, no sign on Luke. And then Kyle's just like, yeah, actually, I think he's part of Wave 2 now. I'm like, oh, cool. That's why we haven't seen him. And then all I see on the internet everywhere that day is, got my Luke. And I'm like, what's going on? Kyle's like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, it just goes to show, even though I walked into a Walmart that had seemingly full stock of 3 3/4 figures, nope, the Lukes had already been pulled out of them. And this is Monday, what was the date of that? That was maybe the 27th, I think. Maybe the 28th of August, whatever that Monday was.
It kind of makes me regret now. Oh, man, when they opened that pallet that I was there witnessing, and I just scooped up the 6-inch, and, I didn't even look, because you had told me that morning you had purchased me the Old Man Luke via Amazon. So I was like, okay, I'm not even going to bother looking. But now that I know that there's people looking for it, I'm like, oh, crap. And another thing I should have done, too, is just kind of count how many were per display. Right? Obviously, there's 10 Poe, 10 Finn. But there were other characters that were a little more few and far between, like Rey and obviously Luke. I think Luke, maybe in that whole display, you must have had maybe 2-3 characters, I would say, compared to some of the other guys.
I haven't checked eBay yet, or some of the indie stores. But I bet you a lot of these guys who have inside info, who knew exactly when these toys were going to be put on shelves, or conceivably knew, raced into the Walmarts, took all the Lukes, and either listed them on eBay or put them in their online store or in their own brick and mortar indie store at double or triple the price.
Which is super
lame. That's what I'm saying. Stop making some figures harder to find than others, because then this happens. And it forces me to go and buy multiple Lukes from Amazon. So I make sure you get one, and I'm going to have one.
Out of curiosity, did you see your Hera finally in the wild?
Yeah, no,
I got you one, but I know.
We have duplicate Heras here. So I wonder what we're going to do with the second one. I don't know.
That, I'm telling you, man, that is a gorgeous figure. I've been dreaming of that thing, man. God,
that's kind of disturbing.
Well, whatever. Either way, I've read reviews on this toy, and everything about this thing, like the articulation, I haven't taken it out, but just looking at it, it's gorgeous, man.
It's fantastic.
It was my number one, I would think, going out there this week.
Yeah, no doubt. yeah, again, like I said, like I keep hitting on the 3 3/4 stuff because that I feel like that's still the core of collecting, even though Black Series is kind of taking a good chunk of that, I would think. But I feel like, let's say I'm a kid, and ooh, Star Wars toys are out. Mom, Dad, can we go get some? And you show up, and everything's already gone because people like us, or people who are worse than us, have already like swooped in like vultures and taken everything. Really lame. Yeah, no, it's the whole feeding frenzy aspect of it. I'm not that cool with it.
I know what you mean. They should it should have been made a little more widely available in that sense. But again, on my end, when I went to that store, there was not another fan like waiting with me, like ready to go.
Yeah,
like no one.
At all 3 Walmarts I was at, there was not one person like in the toy section, sort of going, like looking at each other. Like there was nobody for me to go, dude, like where are they? Where are the toys? It was every single place was empty, and there was about 6 or 7 people at the Toys R Us. So I was lucky to have found, and happy to have found some fans, and we like standing around chit chatting for a while about our collections and stuff like that. It was cool.
Yeah, for sure. I would have been curious as to what would have happened if someone else was there, and it's all about proximity and whatnot. Like, if I was there first, I would have made sure that I had first picks. You know, I could see myself at this point, if it could have been a free-for-all. It could have been a free-for-all, man. Like, there was no way, if I was there first, there's no way I was not leaving with a Hera if it was available. You know what I mean? Like, it would have went down.
Expand on that thought. It would have went down.
Well, like, if I was there first and, you know, like, some dude just started, like, ravaging or attacking the pallet, like, prior to me and just scooped up, like, the 2 or 3 Heras that were actually in that display, I'd be like, yeah, that's not happening, bro. I would seriously, at that point, I would seriously be like, no. It's no.
Yeah, I would have shared the same emotion. And you could go and complain to the store manager, and what's he going to do? Like, I can't stop him from buying 2. There's no... I
don't care. I would have got arrested.
That's smart. That would be very responsible.
Hey, man. Yeah. Well, I don't know what would have happened. I can't say, but I definitely would have put up a stink and I've been like, you're giving me one of those, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think that would have happened. I think people have been like, nope, sorry, man. This is one for me and one for my son, or one for me and one for my brother.
Again, if I was there first, though, that's what I'm saying. It's all about being there first. If I was the first dude in line, you know, you got to have first picks.
Yeah, I don't think that works that way. I think it's whoever...
All right, so next time, if he gets in my way, I'm just going to push him out of the way and, you know, like, what is it supposed to be? If he just jumps in front of me, I'm going to be like, okay, well, I'm jumping in front of you, and that's fair game.
Okay, like...
Sorry.
Examine the last 45 seconds of this conversation. Does this sound normal? Like, from a toy store, because manufacturers can't produce enough of a certain toy that we have to go in there like animals? It's not normal. Like, this is not thrill of the hunt. This is, I'm willing to get arrested, or I'm willing to assault somebody for a piece of plastic. It's not normal.
Yeah, but this is Star Wars.
No, it's not normal. This is not normal behavior. Like, we laugh at people at Christmas time when they went nuts over the Tickle Me Elmos and all this stuff, right? But it's because it's a Hera figure. No, this is totally normal. My collection is priority.
I didn't say it was normal, but I'm telling you how I would have. I wouldn't have let that slide.
Because a guy,
that way. It's something
a guy would have said, "Listen, I'm not breaking any store rules. There's 2 products on the shelf. I took them both. I'm sorry I cut in front of you, but I got there first. I got the."
I would have been like, "Sorry, doesn't cut it, bitch. Give me that."
Yeah, I don't think that would have worked because and he would have said, "There's nothing here that says only one per customer," and the manager would have been like, "Yeah."
By the way, I'm pretty fast, so I'd just been like, yoink, check out. Hey, I already purchased it. Fair is fair.
Oh man, it's quite a fantasy world you live in. Anyway, other things I would do. Boy, there's such incompetence all around. I feel like, and for some people listening, I'm sure they're like, "No, what do you? everything's fine. My Force Friday was great. Well, mine's not. There was incompetence from ordering toys through distribution, like the rollout and execution of the program. Looking at you, Walmart, like just terrible all around. And so, Walmart is selling the toys early. Whatever the fine is, like triple it. And I don't know, but like none of the stores that I went to, Toys R Us included, none had any signage in the window saying, "Guys, the new Star Wars toys are here. Come check it out." Like Toys R Us had a banner on their webpage, but I saw nothing in store to really hype up the fact. So,
well, and let's just play on that for a second, Kyle. I think what you just said there is kind of makes me think that, okay, Walmart was a part of the problem, but they're really not the problem. It's really the vendor who is, what, Lucasfilm?
Hasbro.
It gets Hasbro. So it's up to them, man, to really set things straight, which they have failed to do. Like, the vendors, or Walmart and whatever, the buyers they're going to do whatever they want, kind of. Like you said, like, slap a fine on us so you'll see what happens. But they have to know what kind of property they're dealing with. And there should be more stringent fines, some more pertinent memos being sent to store managers saying, this is what it is, follow the rules, and, it's called Force Friday.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds easy. It sounds easy. Like, here's, guys, this is our Force Friday program. Walmart, you will follow these guidelines. I don't know that it works that way.
But money talks, like you said, man. Money talks, man. Like, tell them you're quadrupling the fines this year. Like, we don't want to hear about any of these things on social media, whatever it is. Like, we don't want to hear about it. So, like, this is the deal. Like, I'm pretty sure you guys can do that. And I'm sure they'll say, yeah.
Well, Walmart kind of makes its own rules, just because.
Trust me, I know.
Like that old saying, the only thing worse than doing business with Walmart is not doing business with Walmart. They can make or break a company.
Yep. Not only that, like, they have a division set up in that company solely for late deliveries. If you're late for a delivery at Walmart, you're charged $1,000. You know how much they made in 2016?
Billions
on late deliveries. Because it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Think about that. You're delivering us our freight, and we're charging you.
Yeah, it's nuts. If a product, if a pallet or a box is improperly labeled, we're gonna fine you for that too. It's just ways for them to cash in 6 ways from Sunday. There's
big time. They got it set up big time.
So yeah, I'm in a stare down between Walmart and Hasbro, and I'm sure Hasbro's, I don't know what kind of ground they're on, but I'm sure they're on somewhat shaky ground.
Well, it's interesting you said that. I never really thought about it from that perspective too, and I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like, it's true. What other retailer can they really go to? Like, they have Toys R Us, Target, no more Target in Canada.
Well, that was a drop in the bucket anyway.
Canadian Tire. But, I mean, who can they really go to sell these toys? Like, independent toy sale, like toy retailers? Like, that's not going to work.
Volume. So yeah, they need Walmart to purchase the big volume of toys. So I don't know. Do they look the other way when it comes to Walmart? It's infuriating. I don't know that there's one simple answer to fix this.
Well, you know what I think we could do? Anyone listening, write a letter. And, someone who's really adamant on something like that will, like, write a letter a day or just forward the same email every day. Like, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, man.
Well, I'm curious to see what's going to happen for Force Friday 3. I'll have to, like, not expect much for the Han Solo stuff. it won't be branded as a Force Friday thing. I don't think Rogue One wasn't. So I think for Episode 9 is in 2019 is the next time we can expect this level of hype and promotion around Star Wars toys dropping. We'll see if Walmart gets more on board. They sure put a dent in a lot of people's experience this year.
One thing I will say though, all in all, aside from the retailers and all that, I think it was really still a fun experience in the sense that the night before I was on Twitter and everyone was like kind of just giddy, super full of excitement, myself included. So there was that part of it. It almost had it was like a 25% Christmas feels almost.
Yeah. That's not unfair to say. Like this is like a holiday for fandom.
It really was. It did feel about it. And like that. And it is a long weekend this weekend too, so it kind of plays into that as well. Right?
But it says nothing about my confidence in the retailers that I had to protect myself by ordering from Amazon. You know what I mean? Like, I could have just not done anything on Friday, and sometime this coming week, my Force Friday stuff will arrive. But that would have been such an anticlimactic experience. In the end, it was.
I like what you said about the hands-on experience.
Yeah, like I could have just ended it with a few clicks of a button, gone to bed, got my extra sleep, and everything would have been great. But you want to go out there. You want to meet fans and see these retailers making a big deal, putting signs up in the store and doing their best to pull fans in. Instead, it was like, nah, don't care.
It was kind of awesome, though. I have to say, like, I kind of felt like a bit of a king, man, when that guy brought that pallet round. Like, he's like, "Can I help you, sir?" Like, I could see him. He was the stock placement guy, you know? And I was like, "Yeah, where are the Star Wars toys at?" He's like, "Oh, I have them." He's like, "I'll be right there." Like, he was so, he could tell that I was not exactly happy. Like, I was walking around like a lost puppy, right? And so finally, like, when he brought them, I could tell that, I don't know, he was like just such in a rush to get it unwrapped for me, you know?
Customer service, baby. You know what? You should, speaking of writing a letter, you should email. I don't know if you can send an email directly to that store, but say, for Force Friday, you guys did nothing, but I left happy because you had one industrious employee who was willing to help a customer.
Yeah, that good old honey hole, baby. That's where I found a lot of my good stuff, man. I let go of some things there too. Oof, what a mistake.
Your wallet thanks you. All right, let's move on. I can't pretend to know how to fix this mess because it's part of the problem is that
there are solutions. And it's possible. They just gotta. It's all about coordination and communication. What are the goals of this thing? You know, it's Star Wars. It's not like it's just some ordinary toy line. So everybody's just got to get on the same page. Easier said than done, but there's, again, ways to do that. And money talks.
Well, yeah, I think I sent out a tweet on Friday. Well, maybe I didn't. I wanted to, but I don't think I got around to it. But I wanted to say, well, thanks to like Walmart's incompetence, all my money went to Toys R Us and Amazon. Way to go, guys. But where does that message stop? It probably does the person receiving that tweet forward it to somebody who cares? Like, at what point do they go, "Oh my god, like, how many people did this happen to?" "Oh, this happened to like tens of thousands of Star Wars fans. Holy shit, we lost like millions of dollars today because we weren't on the ball."
Yeah, you gotta get like 1,000 retweets on it, man.
But I don't know. I think it's very localized. I don't know. Anyway, I'm burnt out on Force Friday.
It's Quebec.
Yeah, like across the board, the buzz here has been tamped down since it came back in 2015. Really disappointing. Anyway, Ad's next question. When Luke and Rey met at the end of The Force Awakens, do you think Luke knows who Rey is? What do you think, Corey?
Well, I kind of want to ask both questions at once because I think I want to answer both in the same vein.
All right, so if he doesn't, is that why he changes his mind and why he decides to eventually train her?
So I'm really just taking a stab in the dark here. Like, I want to think that he knows who she is, but I'm going to have to go ahead and say no. She's a stranger. I don't necessarily want that again, but that's what makes sense to me right now. But in the same right, I see it being like him waiting this whole time for someone, something, and he's kind of been jaded again, just waiting there for so long. So finally, after a point, it's been so hard for him to accept it, but it's like he does know her in the sense that it's her he's been waiting for this whole time. And it just takes him a long time to come to that realization.
See, I think he does know who she is. I think he's part of the reason why the Church of the Force is there on Jakku babysitting her. Or if they are babysitting her. It just seems too much of a coincidence that they're there and she's there. And I think Luke has something to do with why they're all there. So
I hope so. I really do hope so, because that makes most sense to the story, but just the vibe I was getting is it's not going down that route, but it's true. We've talked about that many times about Lord Santeca being there. It can't be a coincidence, and I hope it's not, but
yes, I mean,
I don't know.
Me saying that Luke knows her makes question 3 sort of null for me. Like, I think it's pretty clear that Luke refuses to train her up front and probably tells her to get lost. But I think he caves in eventually to train her because she won't give up.
Not only that, but I'm sure it's like she proves something to him where he's just like, you're the real deal. Like, you are. I keep avoiding the term chosen one or whatever, but you are the one that's going to make this happen, you know?
Yeah, or maybe she's just not having his sulky, sullen crap, and she just keeps hammering at him until he like force of will type thing.
Yeah, or like just she's actually providing like sage wisdom, you know? Like when they're having conversations, she's like, well, you know, she's just like, I could see Rey talking to him and like just kind of like the way she answers him, it's so evident to her, but to him, he's like, you know, you're right, but he's scratching his beard, you know? But to her, it's just her way of thinking is just like, well, why wouldn't it be like this? Like, this is what makes sense. But he's thinking about Jedi dogma in a way, you know? Where she's not been exposed to that.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Like, she's not weighed down by Jedi dogma, so, you know, she has a good heart and her intentions are in the right place. So when Luke looks at her do things, like, maybe he's like, man, like, this girl does kind of like, she gets it, you know?
Or maybe she's like, I'm going to do this with or without you. So she just goes off and touches the Force, and he's like, oh God. No, all right. She's without my guidance, she's a time bomb. So I have to train her.
That could be possible too. I want her to be a virgin, man. Like, we know she's powerful. Like, for her to have been able to adapt to the Force so quickly, like, there has to be something to that. Like, a lot of people complained on that, but there's a reason.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll play ball with Luke not knowing her. You know, in that case, I guess I can envision her telling him something that only someone close to him would know, which would then like trigger something within him, and say, like, make him acknowledge her importance, and say, all right, let's get after this. We got to do this. And it could also have to do with Leia, right? Like, he could be like, nope. Don't want to hear it, puts his fingers in his ears, la, 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 I'm not listening to you. And she could just say, your sister, she sent me here, so I'm not going back empty-handed, or your sister's not going to be very happy if I tell her what a chicken bleep you've become. Yeah. Oh, God.
Well, that's the one thing that kind of throws me off a bit here is, okay, maybe Lor San Tekka and them know about her or whatever, but to believe that Luke knows that she's kind of been discarded or buried here in the sands of time on Jakku, for him to be able to do that to her at such a young age and then go on to his life and try and build a temple with that at the back of his mind, there's something about that kind of seems a little odd. For him to just dump someone with this piece of crap called Ankar Plut and then supposedly like be this, this Jedi that would never do something like that for any reason. So maybe in that regard, like maybe taken away from him, he knows of her in some way, but I don't see him being involved in dumping her with Ankar Plut.
Yeah.
And then being able to go on and build a successful Jedi Order.
Yeah. So much stuff seems to make so much sense. Like these last, whatever it is, 101 days, like they gotta go. They gotta get moving. Anyway, ads, I hope that answers your questions. And thank you for the kind words regarding Sith Disturbers and the Powerful Friend program. Much appreciated. And I think it's safe to say we're kind of just getting started, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. And honestly, when someone like Ad says something like that, like it more than means a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, whenever anybody goes out of their way to unsolicited compliment your work, it makes you feel good all over. So thank you, Ads. Thank you for that. Thank you for the questions. Always look forward to what you have to say, and looking forward to episode 92's questions. All right, it's time for some old Bradley banter. So let's have it that this week. Hi, Kyle and Corey. We're just days away from 100 days until The Last Jedi hits our eye holes, and I have to say I'm starting to get excited about this movie. My first Star Wars question has to do with recent news regarding trading cards. I noticed that Topps has released a card list that outlines the basic plot of The Last Jedi. I myself have not succumbed to these temptations and peeked at this list. I'm trying to go into this movie knowing as little as possible. Well, Bradley, stop listening to us. I'm kidding. But we're not helping that mission, are we? Have you guys taken a look at this list? All right, let's stop there, Corey. Let's read that question. So have you looked at the list? I think by now you know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, big time. I've seen it cross my feed several times on Twitter. I've seen it come up on several forums that I'm a part of. But no, Bradley, I have been strong. I'm much like you. Granted, I do this podcast, and for the most part, I keep my ear to the ground, but I don't choose more or less. If I have an idea for the show notes, I'll throw them in there. For the most part, Kyle's the host of this show, and we'll choose more or less what we want to speak about. And this hasn't, in that regard, it hasn't come across my eye. So I'm happy for that. I'm on the same boat as you in the sense that I don't want to know that. Like, I don't need to know that. I don't want to be spoiled for this film. Like, I almost feel like I have been too much, which is what I've heard a lot of people talking about recently. So I'm on that camp. Like, I don't want to know a general outline to this story. I have an idea in my head, and I'll see how it plays out on film compared to with what I have in my head, as opposed to someone putting it right out there for me to speculate, to see.
Yeah, no, that's always a safe way to go about it. The first time I saw the link to the outline, I just did a hard left. No way, I'm out of here. But the second time it passed me, I clicked it. And only because I saw a couple of people saying, it's not going to... we all kind of know, we're all friends. We all kind of know what each other know. I read it, and it didn't really make me go, oh, geez, I wish I hadn't known that. So it's there's nothing really spoilery to it, and I don't think it's that complete anyway.
Was it based off the soundtrack?
No, it has nothing to do with the soundtrack.
Because I know in the past the soundtrack had kind of given us.
That was Phantom Menace.
Well, Force Awakens too. No. Are you sure? I'm almost.
No, yes. That's it. You're right. I think a French website had posted the track titles, but I've seen nothing on the soundtrack for The Last Jedi.
I saw Ryan Johnson post something like last week, John Williams soundtrack. Oh my god. Yeah,
it's gonna be. Every time we hear Princess Leia's theme in that movie, and I'm gonna guess that it's all over that movie, we're all gonna burst into tears. Yeah, so that list, it didn't blow my mind. It confirmed it. It firmed up a couple things that I'd been thinking anyway. And like one of those things is semi-controversial. If you've been listening over the last little while, maybe you know what I'm talking about. I won't go any further than that. Yeah. All right, number 2 with Bradley. My second Star Wars question has to do with Vader and sensing Leia, Luke, and Ben. In Star Wars, aka A New Hope, do you think Vader could have sensed Obi-Wan when he was near the planet of Tatooine? To me, it seems like he could have sensed something about Leia and Luke, as well as Ben, and not fully understood these feelings. All right, let's stop there again. Corey, what do you think? Did Vader feel anything as he passed over the planet? And considering his daughter was standing right in front of him.
Well, in that regard, no. He obviously does not know that's his daughter. He knows that she's somewhat strong in the Force because she was able to resist that mind probe thing. And secondly,
well,
I don't even know.
Sorry, let me stop you there.
Vader,
that doesn't mean she's strong in the Force.
He says something about her.
He just says her resistance to the mind probe is considerable.
Okay, so there's that, which kind of lends itself to the story too. She's not really the Force user, but you kind of looking back on it in my head canon anyway. It's the Force that enables her to resist.
In 77, it was because this princess is just made of stern stuff, and you can't break her.
But secondly, like I don't even know if Anakin or Vader doesn't necessarily know he has babies. Like he knows that Padme was pregnant.
No, he has no idea at this point.
Yeah, he doesn't. Like when the funeral for Padme took place, like I don't know if it was a novelization or not, but they made an effort to make it look like she was still pregnant, so that it didn't leak that she actually did have the babies. But I do.
Well, yeah, because also like on your
really
point there, we see the moment where Vader learns that his child survived in the comic, right? When Boba Fett tells him.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't necessarily know he knows that they survived. He knows that it's a Skywalker that was a part of it all. So it's all coming undone.
Skywalker on Tatooine with Kenobi.
Well, he knows it's his son at that point, but he doesn't. Before that, he might know that he still has kids, but he doesn't. He didn't know that his kids were involved.
No, I think he felt his kids died, or kid. There was never any talk of twins. Because Padme always spoke in singular, as far as babies were concerned.
Oh, let me put it this way, okay? If there was ever an advent for the term that's been in every Star Wars movie so far, when Vader comes out of hyperspace after the events of Rogue One now, chasing Leia, and just so happens they come up over Tatooine at a hyperspace, he must be like, in his head, I have a bad feeling about this.
Well, yeah, That's something I was thinking that crossed my mind.
It's like everything for him in his life is coming full circle at this point. Like, oh, no. Don't. It's Tatooine, sir. He must be like, God damn it. Something's not right. Like, something's fishy here, you know? Like, something is not right. Everything is coming full circle. So I think for Vader, that starts the whole cycle right there.
Yeah, like, I don't know if we're ever going to see it, but there could be like a cool Vader Insights one-shot comic or something really brief where you hear his thoughts in the immediate aftermath following Rogue One. And you can see, like, I want to know his reaction when some officer comes up to him and says, "Oh, sir, we've tracked their trajectory. We've tracked the trajectory of the rebel ship to Tatooine." Like, what first goes through Vader's head when he hears that? Right? Like,
so, yeah, he must be like, yeah, for sure. It's like when he knows of the Force and all that and the wills of the Force, he must be like, no, don't tell me that.
Like, the thing that drove Anakin nuts the most was like the things he wanted were things he couldn't control. And this is another thing that's like, out of his control. This, like, heading to Tatooine must have just driven him nuts. Why are we going to Tatooine?
Yeah, especially now that I'm like half mechanical, all that sand that's gonna get in all my gears.
I hate sand. It's rough, it's coarse, it gets everywhere.
It's gonna get in my breathing apparatus.
So yeah, all that to say that, you know, going to Tatooine probably dredges up all these mixed feelings. And as much as he says that, you know, Anakin Skywalker's dead and it's just Darth Vader left in his place, he remembers Tatooine. He remembers what.
Oh my God, does he ever remember? Like, for me, again, it's like coming back there is the beginning of the end for him, and he almost knows it at the back of his mind. Like, it's like things are starting to slowly unravel. Like, shortly thereafter, he learns that the boy who blew up the Death Star was his son. You're like, again, that's like a double whammy slap to the face.
Yeah. Like, where is it? And this is where I kind of call on Nathan or Wesley at some point, because they're like my go-tos as walking human encyclopedias for Star Wars. I'm pretty sure there's a moment. I don't know if it's in a comic. It has to be, where Vader almost like tips his cap to Obi-Wan, saying like, "Good job hiding my son in the only place I would never think to look." Like, do you know where that happened?
Exactly. It's the perfect hiding spot. You know Vader's. And that's, in my headcanon, that's why Obi-Wan takes him there. He knows Vader is never going back there.
No, he goes there because Yoda told him.
Well, then, okay, that's true. So, like, but Yoda knows. Some sage, wise guy is like, trust me, Vader is going to want nothing to do with this planet. You go there.
Yeah, I'm sure that definitely factored in to why. But Yoda said, like, take him to his family. Okay. If his family was on Dantooine, would he have gone there? Yeah, again, all this is all, you could easily just say, well, Lucas didn't quite have it all figured out in his own head at this point. So, yeah, he didn't sense Leia because at that point, Leia wasn't really his daughter. And Luke may not have been his son. I don't know. But yeah.
Well, he definitely sensed the Force in Luke. And again, he realized something special about Leia. But 100% he definitely recognizes Obi-Wan.
Yeah, but I guess we could say that Obi-Wan was masking his presence?
Oh, to me, on Tatooine, no, he doesn't know right off the bat for sure. His first sniff of Obi-Wan is on the Death Star. I think it's all weird for Vader when he gets to Tatooine, but
like we could say he's emotionally compromised enough that he doesn't know what he's feeling.
No, and again, like Obi-Wan's well cloaked there, whatever Tatooine has to offer in that regard. He's definitely well hidden. Vader has no clue. He just has a sense of foreboding being back there, like saying, "Oh man, it's the beginning." Like, I have a bad feeling about this.
Like some things don't, well, not that they don't make sense, but you could poke holes in it, like, or you have to come up with these grand statements like, well, Vader didn't feel anybody because Kenobi was protecting Luke's signature in the Force as well as his own. Right? Like,
well, I just don't think he can sense. He could possibly sense a Force-sensitive being like he does with Luke, like saying, like in the trench run, you're strong. This one's strong with the Force, or whatever.
Well, yeah, because Kenobi was no longer there to mask his signature, right?
Yeah, but even if it's a signature, it's not like it's the Skywalker Force signature. You had no clue, Vader. He's like, a Force-sensitive being. Like, I wonder who he can be.
Yeah, oh yeah, he had no idea.
It's not.
Well, again, on Tatooine at the beginning of the movie, like the Force hadn't awakened yet in Luke, right? It's with him, obviously, but he hadn't yet ever experimented with it. Kenobi hadn't taught him anything yet. But I think there's...
No, just in the same ways that Anakin kind of fooled around, in the sense where Anakin was a bit of a prodigy, building pod racers or building 3PO, like Luke was flying his Skyhopper like a madman, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I think there's another meaty question here that, we kind of have to flip things around. But what about for Obi-Wan? And again, we could say that Obi-Wan was masking their presence. But I think the more interesting question is whether or not did Obi-Wan sense Vader in orbit above? What do you think?
I'd have to say no again, because I think he'd be a little more... In the movie, he seems pretty... Like, he wants to get up and go, and he knows that things are in motion now at this point, but had he known that Vader was there, I don't think he would have relayed such a cool collective, like, cool as a cucumber, like, sentiment.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. But I think if he did sense Vader, he would have been like, oh, this is bad. They found me. I don't know how, but they found me. Who? The Libyans!
Yeah.
Yeah, if he senses Vader, what do you think his first move is? Just go grab Luke and just go hide? Like, what would he do?
Yeah, I think you'd either bank on the Force doing what it did, and knowing in that regard that it's what's meant to be after all these years of having waited, like, even in Twin Suns kind of beckoning on that.
Yeah.
So
it's a good one. I don't know.
Well, either way, yeah, if it was Vader up there, like, I'm pretty sure, like, he would have... It'd be interesting to see almost the Obi-Wan movie lead right up to that point. Like, what was Obi-Wan doing right up to that point? Now, I had said this way back in the day, that Rogue One would lead directly into A New Hope. Like, I'd said that, so it'd be pretty cool, maybe even if the Obi-Wan movie could lead right into A New Hope as well. It'd be like a Rogue One, Obi-Wan, and A New Hope would all work together in that sense.
I suppose they could. But isn't that maybe a waste of Ewan McGregor?
Not necessarily. I mean, it depends what they plan on doing with the story, right? It's just all things are coming to a head at the same time, really. Like, his storyline is playing out at the same time whatever the Rogue One crew's doing.
Like, you're right. Like, of course it's possible, but I gotta think I think they would not do that. Like, I think they would back the truck up a little bit and make Obi-Wan be, somewhere in the middle between A New Hope and Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, well, I kind of agree with you there, but look at the time span of the Han Solo flick. It's like, I think they're giving themselves a 6-year window there. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Obi-Wan movie taking quite a few years as well. I don't think it's going to be one story necessarily that takes place in a couple of weeks. Like, it could be one that takes place over 20 years or...
It could cover the whole span. They could start close, like, it could be the reverse of Rogue One, where it could start close to A New Hope and then backtrack.
That could work too.
Yeah. I again, there's so many things they could do with that movie, and I'm certain that they just don't know quite how to tackle it. And it's one of the reasons why it's taken so long, among the many reasons why they haven't announced this yet. All right.
But I definitely like the what Bradley had said about him talking with the Emperor about it. But I think that's only after the fact, where, you know, in a way, Vader's got some explaining to do. Like, once the Death Star has kind of been destroyed, that 15-year, 20-year project, like, Palpatine's gonna be like, what happened? Like, well, Obi-Wan came back, and then there was this Force-sensitive kid, like...
Yeah, well, that's... Yeah. Anyways, Bradley continues. In my own headcanon, when the troops are sent down to the planet's surface to retrieve the droids, Palpatine summons Vader and questions him about it and senses something in Vader. Later on the Death Star, I have no doubt that Vader speaks to Palpatine after he strikes down Obi-Wan, thus confirming the feelings he sensed in Vader when he spoke to him when he was near Tatooine. It's at this point Palpatine starts thinking about a successor to Vader, now knowing that there could be a surviving offspring of Anakin. Now, I haven't read every book out there, and this theory could conflict with canon, but I wanted to throw it out there. What do you guys think about this possibility? And do you think Vader's wheels started to turn on what Obi-Wan was doing on Tatooine? Looking forward to your thoughts, and as always, may the Force be with you. Cheers, Bradley Hall. Bradley, thank you again. So we're not done here with Bradley. We got another couple questions here to answer. Where are we at here, Corey? I think we're at... Yeah, let's just say we're at regarding Palpatine on replacing Vader. All right, so as far as Palpatine knowing about Skywalker offspring, like, again, I think this one is a bit of a mystery. Like, we don't... It's murky.
We know Vader doesn't know.
And we know... Yeah, we don't know when Palpatine finds out. Like, we know exactly when Vader finds out, like we mentioned in the Star Wars comic, but Palpatine finding out is a bit of a mystery. We see him talk about it in Empire. When they have that little powwow together in Empire, oh, we have a new enemy, a disturbance in the Force, all that stuff. That could be Palpatine's first exposure to Luke's arrival on the Force scene, but it might not be. He could have been holding on to that card for quite some time. Like, he is the master of deception and manipulation, right? So it wouldn't shock me if he knew way in advance and just held on to that knowledge for when it best suited him. But as for Palpatine, considering a successor to Vader, Bradley, I don't think that wheel ever stops turning. I think he was eager to replace Dooku with Anakin. I have no doubt that from the moment he recovered Anakin's crispy body on Mustafar, he's like, oh, damaged goods. All right, well, who else is out there? Like, I don't think that wheel stops turning. What do you think?
Yeah, same. Not only does it stop turning for Palpatine, but it doesn't stop turning for Vader either. Like, once he gets a sniff, he's like, I'm going to get all Sithy on this. Like, all Sith always think that. Like, how can we one-up or usurp my master?
Yeah. Like, they're both looking to replace each other. No doubt about that. Yeah, it's... As far as Palpatine, I hope we find out. Like, for now, I guess we have no choice but to use Empire as the official point of where Palpatine learns about Luke. Which, in a way, makes sense. Right? Like, Vader got the inside track from Boba Fett.
Yep.
That's it. That's all. He got one up on his boss. And...
yeah, that was his ace in his hole.
But he never really used it, right?
He tried Empire, and
but even by that point, the Empire, the Emperor had caught up to him in terms of who knows what. Like, they're all on the same page at that point.
Yeah, but right away the wheels were turning. Vader was just like, "You and I can, the Emperor's."
Well, yeah, he gave him his sales pitch. And of course, I'm sure Palpatine knew he'd give him the sales pitch.
Yeah, he's a Sith.
Anyway, Bradley, I hope we nailed all your questions. Let us know if we didn't, and we'll circle back to it either on Twitter or in next week's show. But yeah, just I think these two guys, Palpatine and Vader, as much as they were kind of working together as master and apprentice type thing, they both had their own separate agendas, and they both wanted to replace the other. So I would say that, when you suggested that Palpatine summons Vader and questions them about what happened on Tatooine, or just above Tatooine at the beginning of A New Hope, that maybe that happened, but I don't think Vader would have told the truth. And then later on the Death Star, after Vader strikes down Obi-Wan, I don't think he would have told the Emperor anything, because he doesn't know what he saw. Like, how the hell did Obi-Wan disappear like that? If I call to report this into my boss, I'm going to sound like an idiot. So I don't know that he.
And then it also kind of gives way for Palpatine to kind of say, like, "Oh wait, Obi-Wan can come back now." Like, there's just too many.
On the other hand, you could have also said, "Hey, Obi-Wan came and I took care of him."
Well, you got to kind of think also in the sense that he did need an excuse for the Emperor. Like, well, how is the Death Star gone again? Well, Obi-Wan showed up. I swear, he brought this kid with him. There was this walking carpet. It was crazy.
Things got pretty messy here. There was 4 of them.
Even 3PO.
Oh, and they took the princess.
Like, dude, what do you think when he sees 3PO? Like, oh man, like that's like full circle.
Did he see 3PO? And well, protocol droids are a dime a dozen, right? And he never really saw.
That's the presence he felt.
His Bluetooth came on, connected to 3PO.
That's familiar. I built you. I'm the maker.
Yeah, all these feelings, right? Oh, I sent something. Like, is it weird at all that it leaves you to, A New Hope leads you to think that the way that you sense somebody is by being geographically close to them. Like, they're in orbit above Tatooine, and he doesn't sense Obi-Wan down below. Yet once he's on board the Death Star, and he's on board the Falcon, he's right there. Well, now he could feel him. So it seems to.
No, for sure, it gives you that impression in that movie.
Maybe that's it. But then again, go skip ahead to Jedi. Luke's on Shuttle Tadirium, and Vader is on his Star Destroyer. They sense each other. Now, granted, they're not super far apart, but they're not right next to each other. Anyway, tangenting. Stop.
Yeah, I shouldn't have come.
All right. We will wrap things up with. Oh, thank you, Bradley. Great questions again this week. Like, I had a whole ton of notes on all the stuff that you put here, and I couldn't even make sense of my own notes. There's really too much. Like, I probably missed half of them. But you let me know, Bradley. You let us know if we sufficiently answered the question or not, and if you want us to emphasize on anything else. Thank you, sir. Looking forward to next week's stuff. Great stuff as always. And again, we'll wrap it up with Jeffrey of the Canto Cast. And before we get to his question, I want to again tip my cap to Jeffrey and to his young co-host Tristan on their new podcast, the Canto Cast. You are never too young or too old to start a podcast. So, way to go, guys! You're a couple episodes in, you are off and running. And the interesting thing about their young podcasting life is episode 2 was recorded on Tristan's end during Hurricane Harvey. And while Jeffrey is in Pennsylvania, far, far away from where Harvey was, where does Tristan live? Houston. But he hung in there, and it seems like he's okay. But I don't think Jeffrey or Tristan especially will ever forget where they were when they recorded the second episode of their podcasts. So anyway, over to Jeffrey's question. Very simple one. Which 2 Star Wars characters would you want as your best friends? And so this is what I love about Jeffrey. It's a terrific question on its own, but here's what I love about Jeffrey. There's simple questions that come from like the same type of love of these movies that we had, like when we first saw the movies as kids. Like, it all comes from that same place. So with Jeffrey, there's none of that ugly cynicism that comes when as you get older and you become an adult. We all, I used to like Ewoks, but now I'm cool, and now they're stupid. You know what I mean? Like, or
yeah, Jeffrey is the biggest advocate of Jar Jar Binks I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't know if people have actually told him he's wrong for that, but no, like what you like. That's it. End of story. So like I said,
speaking of that, Jar Jar would make a great best friend.
Well, geez, it's funny you mentioned that. There you go. You kind of stole that one, Corey. But yes, Jar Jar would be on my list of potential best friends. He's not my.
Really?
Come on, he'd be a great friend.
Of course, dude. He'd be all about giving the shirt off his back. You know, it'd be that's what relationships are about, right? Like just mutual respect and for one another. And Jar Jar would definitely be. He's a happy guy, and I don't think you could not be happy around him unless he's totally annoying you. But
yeah, exactly. As long as you connected with the guy, you'd be pretty happy as long as you were in his presence. Yeah, like I said, it's just Jeffrey seems to be untainted by adult cynicism, which I find very, very admirable. So how do you answer this question, Corey? Like, there's so many people in Star Wars who could be a really good friend.
Oh, no doubt. The way I took it is, who would I most get along with, and who would I have the most fun with?
All right, so who are the? Well, all right, just talk your way through it.
All right, well, you know, we all kind of want an astromech in that regard. Like, they're like the dogs of the Star Wars universe. It'd be nice to have an astromech partner. So I'll give a quick shout out to Chopper, but I don't think that's the answer you're really looking for. So I'm gonna choose. But again, if you're saying best friends, it means you also like the character. Like, you have a respect from the other character. Like, you guys are best friends. Like, obviously it's not going to be someone that turns you over right off the bat. Like, they obviously like you too. So I think a fun person to be with, my first pick would be Hondo.
Ooh.
Just, he's a bit of a scoundrelly guy, but man, I could see this guy, you just laughing your butt off with him all night long and having a good time.
See, Hondo's not on my list for the same reason that Han and Lando are not on my list. Like, they're just too shifty. Like, I feel like any of those 3 guys would just be like, yeah, this guy's holding me back, or there's something cooler over there. I'm out. Goodbye.
I get you there. I know exactly where you're coming from. I was kind of thinking about that as well. That's why I didn't choose Han or Lando. But Han and Lando, they also kind of seem a bit, I don't know, I don't want to say boring, but like, I don't know, there's not one time in, hopefully this movie, the Han Solo movie, changes our perspective on that, but there's not one time in this trilogy, or the original trilogy, where I see Han as like this happy-go-lucky party guy or whatever, you know?
I think Han likes like the pub life. You know what I mean? Like, he just likes to show up at a pub, get absolutely hammered. Like, he's not a big social scene guy.
No, I see him being more in a dark corner, kind of like, leave me alone, me and Chewie.
Well, the way we see him in Mos Eisley.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
let me guess. I'm sure I can guess one. Low-hanging fruit for you. Chewbacca's got to be one of your buddies.
Well, he's definitely on my short list. Yes, it's hard to go wrong with Chewie, right? So long as you can understand him. Like who would not want this guy in your corner?
Yeah, exactly.
Like a young Kenobi would be a good friend to have. He's a pretty cool guy, like a Jedi who doesn't mind going for a drink. Okay.
Ahsoka too.
Ahsoka's on my short list.
Like, yeah, the Clone Wars, Ahsoka, you know, like, just seems like the kind of person you'd be able to, like, have a blast playing a board game with, kind of.
Well, you got to be careful with, like, choosing Jedi for friends, though, because oftentimes, oh, dude, let's go check out this new movie. Can't go. What do you mean you can't go? Gotta go report to the council. Like, yeah, push it till tomorrow. Can't. Like,
it's rated R.
You can mind trick. I need you to get to come with me so you can mind trick the usher. Let us in. It's rated R. We can't get in otherwise. I can't do it. No. Like Rey and Finn, like palling around with those two could be fun. Or Poe and Finn.
Well, I'll tell you right away. I chose Hondo number 1, but number 2. My number 1 is Poe. Like, throughout the TFA, again, you don't see him all that much, but when you do see him, he's a leader. He looks just like a good person. Like, he just looks like someone who would not screw you over. And he also looks like a whole bunch of fun. Like, granted, I may be taking stuff out of from like extra scenes.
Behind the scenes stuff where he's just like dancing around.
Like, exactly. But he's got the confidence, he's got the swagger, the way he treated Finn and accepted Finn right off the bat, like the way he grabbed him and the enthusiasm, the passion, like he just seems like a good dude, you know, like give a solid high five and a hug to, like he's just your boy, you know? It's Poe.
Yeah, well, this is all going to get very boring very quickly because Poe is on my one of 2. So it's for me, it's either like Poe and Chewie are my 2 best buds, or like Poe and Rey or something like that.
I gotcha. I tried to look at Zeb or something, but you know, even young Luke's too whiny. Zeb's a bit cranky. Like that's why I look at Poe and he's just like this beacon of positivity, kind of, you know.
Yeah, like I feel like all the real core, like the people that are at the very core of Star Wars, you can't have them as your best friends. They're too busy.
Yeah,
or
they're too involved.
They're
too jaded.
Too involved is the one I was getting at. Like someone like Hera, she'd be probably super cool to have as a best friend, but she's way too involved. Like she has no time for you.
Maz.
Maz has too many Klingon friends. Not those Klingon friends, but just like nah, she's too scatterbrained, I think, to really have a best friend.
I think Poe is the best choice. I like that you chose him too. Just, you look at him and you see positivity. You see that he accepts you. You'd have a good time with him. Like, he's not the kind of guy that's going to stir the shit, you know, Sith disturb.
The kids from Lost Stars would be good friends to have. Or if I were 20 years younger. Who else is out there?
Wicket.
Until they get fed up of you and try to eat you. Yum nub. Major Durland. Come on, it's Cliff Clavin.
That's true too. Nam.
Who else could go on this list? I feel like you have to pick at the fringes. What about Wedge?
Yeah, I was thinking of Wedge. Again, doesn't seem too fun. Maybe
no.
Biggs. Biggs seems to be like when the scenes that were cut out of A New Hope, when Biggs comes home and Luke's like, "Oh my God, Biggs!" Like the smile on both their faces. It looks like they had some really good times together. You know,
Biggs. Biggs turkey.
How dare you?
Lobot? No. That's a hard no. Come on.
Good to play cards against.
That's a layup. You're supposed to say no.
He's still chill.
Dexter.
He seems like he'd be pretty fun, pretty loyal friend.
Yeah, not a best friend though. Somebody who owns their own restaurant. They work way too much. Crazy hours. No. Bail Organa. Too involved?
Yep.
Anyway, I think we struck Poe. Like that's gold. Poe's got to be the number one.
Poe Boy.
Poe Boy. That could be the episode title.
Oh boy.
So Jeffrey, who are your two best friends in Star Wars? Is Jar Jar one? Poe and Jar Jar.
Misa thinks so.
Poe and Jar Jar. There you go. Yeah. Sorry guys, that's it. Jeffrey, that's what I've got for you. It's Poe and Chewie, Poe and Rey. Pick one, but yeah, Poe is definitely right there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of episode 91 at long last. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, 2.5 hours of Star Wars?
Jesus, eh?
God, we don't
every week.
Thank you, Ads, again. Thank you, Bradley. Thank you, Katie. And thank you, Jeffrey, for your contributions to this week's show. You guys are the best. And we could not have this community without you guys. So thank you ever so much, as always. Guys, don't forget to check out the Star Wars Commonwealth. Everybody is just turning that sausage crank. The great product just keeps coming out. Everybody's just, I say it every week, but everybody really is doing it. I'm getting verklempt. It's just my allergies. Everybody at the Commonwealth is doing such fine work, and they deserve your earballs. So StarWarsCommonwealth.com, go check them out, and come back to me, and I dare you to come back to me and say, that was a waste of my time. I guarantee you some of these people will be on your playlist. And as always, like I said off the top of the show, we now have that $1 option for Patreon, so if you don't want any of the bells and whistles with the $2 or $3 option, yet you want to feel good about yourself, well then the $1 no string attached options is for you. So patreon.com/tumblingsaber, check it out. And or you could listen to Ad's advice and Carlos's advices last week, saying, the Powerful Friends program's pretty good. Stubaka just walked away with a 40th anniversary Tusken Raider. That's just what we do here. So Corey, any last words other than where people are going to find you on the Twitter machine?
Well, I love you all. Keep on listening, and definitely hit me up at with a Z, and that's with a double E, at tumblingsaber.com. I got a few emails this week, which I was really stoked about. Some of them were actually quite funny, quite fun to respond to. And if not, you know where to reach me at Shop Rules with a Z.
Cool. And you guys know where to find me at Tumbling Saber on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. And this week, I think we're doing Journals of the Willing this week, but I don't know what we'll be talking about. So that'll be a surprise for our powerful friends when they find out what's in their inbox on Friday morning. So again, everybody, thank you for listening to episode 91. We really, really appreciate these hours and hours that you give us. And we'll catch you later this week. In the meantime, can't wait to catch up with you on social media and see what. You know what? You think we're gonna have another big week, Corey, in Star Wars, or is this gonna be?
Oh hell yeah! When this episode drops, we're at the 100-day marker for episode 8, baby.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be sort of a milestone. But do you think we're in for a big week of Star Wars? Yeah, or is it gonna be sort of an off week?
Oh, it's an off week. I already sense it.
You think? I thought last week was gonna be an off week. Yada, yada, yada. 2.5 hour podcast. All right, everybody. Thanks again. We will catch you all later.
Self-redeeming qualities, have they hindered me? Hindering, was I blind to see? Blind to see that you needed me, all of me. Well, you were there for me. I will be there too, watching, listening, every moment, wanting all of you. And I believe I can save you, just don't let me go. And I can see I'll be waiting, always waiting, just don't let me go. Just don't let me go. Time goes on and I'm questioning all the things I've seen, crazy things I've seen as I'm watching you. I'm watching you walking away from me. Were you watching me? Was it just a dream? Just a dream. And I believe I can save you, just don't let me go. And I can see I'll be waiting, always waiting. And I believe I can save you, let me save you. And I can see I'll be waiting, always waiting, just don't let me go. Just don't let me go. Don't let me go. And I'm waiting. And I'm waiting.